Chapter 2052. Kanzuya. Yes, Nakata Kanzuya. Suyin finally remembered Kanzuya's full name. How is it? Are you satisfied with the boxed lunch I gave you? Look at your brothers. They're eating so happily that they can't stand up. You're the only one who wasted a portion. Nakata Kanzuya clenched his fists tightly. He couldn't wait to pounce on the hateful guy in front of him and kill him. Since you're all done eating, shouldn't we settle the accounts? Suyin. You injured so many of our people just now and affected our progress. Let me calculate. You have to pay at least 60 million, right? Suyun's amount was not too much. 60 million yen was about 3 million renminbi. There were so many injured people. Each of them would have to pay at least 20,000 renminbi. Only in this way would the injured brothers not be bitterly disappointed, and the injured workers would not be fearful. It was said that money made the world go round, and the generous rewards would attract brave men. If this accident could get so much compensation, it was believed that many people would be willing to replace the injured workers who couldn't work. Since Brother Nakata doesn't say anything, I'll take it as a yes. Suyin smiled faintly. You should call someone to send the money over. Otherwise, I'll treat you to a boxed lunch. This one won't be that delicious. Nakata Kanzuya glared at Suyin viciously. Do you really think I'm a pushover? You can bully me? Okay. I'll let you know the consequences of bullying me. After that, Nakata Kanzuya walked to his Toyota business car and opened the door. He said to the people in the car, You really take the money and do the work. Now come out and do the work. Price. Deal with that person for me. 100 million yen will be transferred to your card immediately. Suyin smiled and thought to himself that the two masters were really good at keeping their cool. They were really masters at making money. They wouldn't act unless there was some incentive. No matter how badly the people outside were beaten up, as long as Nakata Kazuo didn't talk about money, they would just sit in the car and enjoy the air conditioning. 100 million yen was about 5 million renminbi. Suyin thought for a while. This amount of money was actually not high. However, if it was just to solve the problem of one person in front of him, the two people inside should not be too simple. However, no matter how extraordinary they were, Suyin wouldn't take them seriously if they were willing to work for the Japanese mafia for this amount of money. Mr. Nakata, if you talked to us earlier, the brothers outside wouldn't have to suffer so much. The person in the car snorted and said disdainfully. The other person also said lightly, Sometimes people like to do this kind. Save money, save money, save money, and in the end they don't get any benefits. In the end they still have money. You too, I'll pay the money, but you have to give me the person. After that, Nakata Kanzuya made a throat-slitting gesture. The two looked at each other and smiled. Then they got out of the car. When the two of them got out of the car, Suyin was stunned. No wonder their Japanese was so bad. It turned out that they were not Japanese. Sometimes the world was really too small. She could even meet acquaintances in such a situation. Suyin sighed. He didn't play with foreign languages anymore. He said in a standard Japanese accent, I didn't expect to see you here. When the two heard Suyun's voice, they looked up and were dumbfounded. What the F***ck? Why is it this ancestor? You. Something. I forgot your name. You're Luo Tuesday. Your name is easy to remember. Camel haha, Suyin said. Not bad. You left Huaxia and came to Japan to develop? The guy who wasn't recognized by Suyin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Master. I'm Wu Hao. You still remember us? Of course I remember you too. Suyin nodded. Back then, he had spent a lot of effort to capture these two fellows. These two fellows were first-rate experts at that time. Their strength was not bad. They specialized in hunting wild animals and grassland wolves in the grassland of Inner Mongolia. Although they didn't kill rare wild animals that couldn't be hunted, because they hunted too many wild animals, it had a negative effect. They caught wolves with their bare hands and could get intact wolf skins to sell for money. However, because of the large number of wolves, the wild gazelles in the grassland increased. A large amount of pasture was destroyed, which directly affected the nomadic ecological chain. Therefore, the local government arranged for people to catch them many times. However, They relied on their skills and escaped capture time and time again. Later, there was no other way. The local government asked for help. Su-yin rushed over with a few brothers to find out their whereabouts. That night, the two of them were caught. It wasn't that the two didn't fight back, but they were beaten into submission by Su-yin. After that, the two of them admitted their mistakes. After receiving punishment, they didn't continue to do such things over there. Who would have thought that a few years later, Su-yin would actually meet the two of them here? If we knew that this bridge was your project, we wouldn't have dared to cause trouble for you even if we were given the courage. Luo Tu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Master, please don't stoop down to our level. The two of them were really scared by Su-yin. Although all masters were strong, when facing a master whose strength was completely inferior to theirs, that kind of power made them especially respectful. This was why the 5 war gods were like little brothers in front of Zhuo Lingyue. They would do whatever he asked them to do. Try asking someone else to order them around. I promise I won't beat you to death. The two of them had this kind of attitude in front of Su-yin. They didn't dare to fight with Su-yin again. Moreover, they respected and feared Su-yin. They were all injured by you. Su-yin frowned. We will pay for the medical expenses. The two of them said in unison. The two of them nodded and bowed in front of Su-yin. Everyone was dumbfounded. Okubo Chiami almost thought that Su-yin was a magician. She had heard that these two were masters of Huaxia. One of them was called Wu Hao, and the other was called Luo Tuesday. Both of them were very rich. If you wanted them to help you, the starting price would be at least 100 million yen. Moreover, the two of them never worked for a fixed person for a long time. After they made money, they would go back to the big city to enjoy themselves. Therefore, they were quite famous in Japan. These two people were actually Su-yin's old friends? No, to be exact, they couldn't be described as old friends. The two of them were so careful in front of Su-yin. There must be some history between them. That's more like it. Seeing how straightforward you are, I won't argue with you. Su-yin said. Go and apologize to Miss Okubo. Remember what she looks like. If you dare to cause trouble for the Okubo family in the future, be careful that I don't kill you. Yes. We won't do it again. We didn't know. If we knew, we wouldn't have come. Wu Hao said. Master, tell me, how do you want me to deal with Nakata Kanzuya? As long as you say it, I will definitely make him crawl back. Su-yin waved his hand. I will deal with this myself. Apologize and get out. Then the medical expenses. Luo Tu said. Wu Hao glared at him. This guy was really stupid. Su-yin didn't mention it, but he still wanted to ask. Su-yin glared at him. Don't you know how to send him to the hospital yourself? If you don't know which hospital it is, then go and ask. If you can't find out, then go and look for him one by one. Do you still need me to teach you? Are you done talking nonsense? It's over. The two of them hurriedly ran to Okubo Chiami and apologized to her. They also promised that they wouldn't disturb the Okubo family in the future. If Okubo Chiami wanted them to do anything, they could do it with just a word. After saying that, the two of them gave Okubo Chiami a business card and quickly left the scene. These two people were really strange. It was really admirable that first-class experts could reach this level. They were the weirdest of the weirdos. Even the things they did were so inconceivable. Chapter 2053. It's all settled. Su-yin smiled at Nakata Kanzuya. Shouldn't we settle the bill now? Nakata Kanzuya didn't understand what was going on at all. He didn't understand Chinese. He didn't know what the two people communicated with Su-yin just now. He only knew that he saw the two people being respectful to Su-yin and bowing sincerely to apologize to Okubo Chimi. Was 100 million not tempting enough? Bastard. Nakata Kanzuya almost gritted his teeth. Why couldn't the two bastards withstand such a little pressure? Wasn't the other party just one person? Was he so terrifying? Soon Nakata Kanzuya realized what terror was. When Su-yin approached him step by step, he could feel the pressure in his breath, which made Nakata Kanzuya completely fall into a kind of horror. That invisible pressure was like a pair of strong and powerful hands, firmly choking his neck, making it difficult for him to even breathe. This was a real master. He didn't need to make a move at all. Just a look was enough to make Nakata Kanzuya, who was usually fearless, unable to even speak. The money for the lunchbox on average is nearly 100 servings for each person. Su-yun, how about I cut a piece of your flesh for each less serving? Do you want to be dismembered, or do you want to pay? I'm not joking with you. You heard it just now. I'm a Hwasia person, not a Dongying person. If I kill you, I can leave immediately. There won't be any trouble at all. Under this kind of creepy horror, Nakata Kanzuya finally chose to compromise. He really had no way to compete with the person in front of him. The courage he had before disappeared with the two unreliable masters. The troublesome matter that Okubo Chimi thought was completely impossible to solve was easily solved by Su-yun. Su-yun just sweated and solved all these people. Nakata Kanzuya said that he didn't have that much money on him. The cash in his car was not even 1/3. Su-yun quickly pulled off a jade pendant on Nakata Kanzuya's neck. With this quality, TSK, red was jade, green was jade. This jade was a combination of jade and green. It was obviously a high-quality gem. The more delicate the green, the more valuable it was. The brighter the red, the more expensive it was. This jade's delicate green and bright red had reached a very high quality. Moreover, this jade itself was rich in chromium and had formed an ice seed. It was definitely a priceless and rare gem. With this uniform color, it could be sold for a pretty good price. This thing should be worth some money. Su-yun smiled. That's enough to pawn off 2 or 3 lunchboxes. Do you have anything valuable on you? Is this omega of yours genuine or fake goods bought on WeChat? I'll give you 3 boxes of food if it's genuine. Hurry up, get your people to raise money for you. If it's not enough, call someone to send it over. Nakata Kanzuya was dumbfounded. That jade was very important to him. I beg you to return the jade to me. I'll call someone to send the money right away. You can't take the jade away. Is it that important? Su-yun nodded. Perhaps this thing had a special meaning to him. Well, no matter how good the jade was, it was worth at most 1 million yen. It was more appropriate to let him raise enough money and bring it over. Okubo Chimi finally came forward. Su-yun, that's enough. Don't make it difficult for him. Nakata Kanzuya was startled. Miss Okubo was said to be kind-hearted. He really didn't expect that she would be soft-hearted to someone who had caused her trouble. That's enough. Su-yun was also a little surprised. He injured so many people and delayed the project for so long. It's not right if he doesn't pay some money. It's not right, but I think everyone should be given a chance. Okubo Chimi said lightly. Nakata Kanzuya, I don't think you're pitiful at all. I don't have any intention of pitying you. I just don't want you to continue wasting my time. I don't need you to raise money. Get your people to get in the car and leave. I only want you to promise that you'll never harass me again. Nakata Kanzuya immediately promised. I promise that I won't provoke Miss Okubo in the future. Thank you, Miss Okubo. Fortunately, the 5 people who had been skewered by Su-yun hadn't broken their arms or legs and could drive. Hundreds of people helped each other into the car they had come in. Under Nakata Kanzuya's lead, they left scared witless. After these people left, the project could immediately resume. The person in charge of the engineering department immediately began to think of ways to mobilize enough workers as soon as possible. Everything was settled, and Okubo Chimi finally breathed a sigh of relief. That guy didn't even think about it when he promised. You don't really believe him, do you? Su-yun smiled slightly. Hwasia has a saying that a dog can't change its habit of eating shit. Okubo Chimi was amused by Su-yun's metaphor. Yes, he can't change it. But now we can only get rid of him as soon as possible. Otherwise, if he sends people to send money, the Righteous Peace Society won't let this matter end so easily. They'll immediately arrange for people to come again. Then we won't be able to start work smoothly. Thinking of this, Okubo Chimi also had a headache. There's no other way. We can only calm things down first and let the project continue. I believe they won't provoke us again in a short period of time. Su-yun nodded. Okubo Chimi's considerations were right. This was indeed the case. If you want to be carefree in the future, I think you should completely make them not dare to provoke you again. Su-yun. If it doesn't work, you can make an appointment with the real boss of the Righteous Peace Society. I'll meet with him and try my best to completely solve your worries. Okubo Chimi looked at Su-yin gratefully. It's not that simple. After all, this isn't a conflict between me and them. It involves political families. Hee, but thank you for thinking this way for me. You're being polite? You helped me transport the Buddha's head back to China. If I don't even help you solve this, I really won't have the face to go back. Su-yin. Anyway, the ship has already set sail. It doesn't matter if I can't go back for a while. Lin Gu is protecting the thing. Give me some time. Maybe I can really help you. Okubo Chimi didn't answer Su-yin directly. Let's wait for 2 days and see how they react. Right now, I'm in a very good mood. I don't want to be disturbed by what happened just now. Can you accompany me home for lunch? I'll personally make you my best octopus. What the hell is octopus? Su-yin was stunned. It can't be barbecue, right? It's octopus ball. Okubo Chiami smiled. Let's go. I'm getting hungry. You sweated so much just now. You should hurry back and take a shower. That's true. Su-yin nodded. Such an activity in the summer really made him feel uncomfortable all over. After going back, you take a shower and I'll cook. It's decided. Okubo Chimi narrowed her eyes and smiled. In fact, the faint smell of sweat on Su-yun's body was very manly. She didn't think it smelled bad at all. On the contrary, Su-yin was embarrassed to get in her car. Chapter 2054. After settling the matter at the construction site, Okubo Chimi was very excited all the way. The driver, who had been with her for many years, felt that her mood was different because in the past 2 years, Okubo Chimi's character had changed too much and was different from before. It could be said that he hadn't seen Miss Chimi smile so happily in the car for 2 years. Indeed, in the past 2 years, it was really difficult for Okubo Chimi to laugh out loud. She didn't want to be like this, but many things made it impossible for her to lift her mood. She was very tired every day, especially when she was outside. She always had to wear a mask. How could she be relaxed and happy like this? Every time she sat in the car, Okubo Chimi felt mentally and physically exhausted. It was impossible for her to have the strength to laugh out loud. But today was different. Today's tricky matter was handled very smoothly. Okubo Chimi didn't have to do anything. She just needed to stand behind Su-yin like a little woman and enjoy the protection that Su-yin brought to her. This was enough. It was enough for her to be carefree. In fact, many things are not so troublesome to solve. Su-yin smiled slightly. If you encounter a shameless person, you can compete with him. If you encounter a hard one, you can play with him. There is always a way to suppress the other party. As long as you suppress the other party, you win. Okubo Chimi looked at Su-yin with worshipful eyes and nodded frequently. But today it was Su-yin who came. If it were anyone else, those 2 weirdos would definitely fight to the death for 100 million yen. If they really had the ability, it would be fine. If they could beat those 2 people, if they didn't have the ability, they would definitely be beaten. It's good to have you. Okubo Chimi's words came from the bottom of her heart. She didn't know why she said such a sentence. Su-yin laughed twice. The perfume in your car is good. It covers up the smell of my sweat. I like the smell of your sweat, and I also like the way you look when you sweat. Okubo said bluntly. I think a man who sweats is the most handsome. Then you should really go to the United States to watch live NBA games. Every single one of them is drenched in sweat. Su-yin joked. Then wouldn't you be smitten? Chiaki Okubo shook her head vigorously. Those people aren't as good looking as you. And I don't like black people. I don't mean to be racist. I just think that if I really like black people, then I'll give birth to a black baby. Phew, the baby will still be white and chubby and cute. Black babies can be cute too. Su-yin smiled. But it's better to be whiter. As the saying goes, whiter skin can cover up 100 ugliness. Then am I not ugly at all? Okubo hadn't talked to a man like this for a long time, and the atmosphere in the car was so harmonious. Well, it's not ugly at all. Su-yin nodded. Okubo laughed like a child. That's because I'm also quite white. It covers up my ugliness, ha ha ha. In this atmosphere, it was difficult for anyone not to laugh. Soo-yin also laughed. Yes, it's not ugly at all. He was telling the truth. Even if you're black, you're still a black beauty. Your beauty will definitely suppress any black. I really didn't realize that you were a man who knew how to sweet talk. Okubo Chiaki said. It seems that you still know how to make a girl happy. Do you have a girlfriend? Speaking of this, Okubo Chiaki was stunned for a moment, but she quickly recovered. My question is so silly. You're such an excellent man, so you must have a girlfriend. She must be very happy. Soo-yin didn't know how to continue this topic. The originally cheerful atmosphere seemed to be a little awkward. He could feel Okubo Chiaki's feelings for him, because while he helped her solve this problem, he gave her too many beautiful feelings. Solving the problem wasn't the fundamental reason. The fundamental reason was that Okubo Chiaki needed this beautiful feeling too much. But Soo-yin couldn't ignore Okubo Chiaki's troubles in order to prevent her from having such feelings for him. If he did, he would really feel guilty. Fortunately, the driver turned on the music at the right time and played a cheerful song. He said, Miss Okubo, I haven't seen you smile like this in a long time. When you were still in school, I was your driver. When you got in the car, you would let me play this song. After I bought this car, I prepared this song, but you never let me play the music again. This is the first time this car's horn has played its role. The driver's words made Okubo Chiaki smile. Yes, it's really been a long time since I heard this song. Soo-yin, this is my favorite song. Is it good? Okubo Chiaki said. It's good. Soo-yin nodded. This topic changed at the right time. He was really grateful to this driver. Okubo Chiaki hummed along with the music. In the past, I would listen to this song when I was happy, and I would listen to this song when I was unhappy. Every time I listened to this song, I would feel very comfortable and happy all over. To be honest, the lyrics of this song were ordinary, but the rhythm was very comfortable, giving people a kind of spiritual massage. Music is a person's good friend. This is why many people can have nothing, but can't have music. In the car surrounded by the song, the two returned home in a happy mood. After Okubo Chiaki got out of the car, she felt refreshed. She hadn't been so relaxed in a long time. She decided to cook, making her best octopus. She believed that the whole kitchen would be shocked. Since Okubo Chiaki's parents died, she hadn't been in the kitchen again, because no one was worthy of her going to the kitchen. You go take a shower. The delicious food will be waiting for you on the plate. Okubo Chiaki smiled. Soo-yin nodded and finally had to say embarrassedly, it's just that there was no bathroom in the guest room yesterday. Okubo Chiaki pointed to her temple. Why did you suddenly become stupid? I didn't ask you to go to the guest room. The guest room has been cleaned up. You go to my room first and take a shower in my bathroom. If you feel too tired from the activity just now, you can also go to the hot spring for a while. Soo-yin was really flattered. This was really not a treatment that ordinary people could have. There's no drug in the room, right? Buddha's head is on board, and there's nothing valuable in my room. Okubo Chiaki said. Do you think I will still use drug? This is what you said. If I really faint in your room later, you will be responsible for me. Soo-yin smiled. Thank you first. Thank you for your bathroom. Okubo Chiaki pursed her lips and said, Go. If you really faint, I promise I won't bring people to watch you. Once a woman was cute, she was more likable than when she was serious. She believed that no man would want to play with a woman who always treated him with respect and was serious in everything she did, right? Of course, it was better to choose a girl who was lively and cute and could talk about anything. That would make the mood more pleasant. Chapter 2055. Soo-yin took a quick shower. The takoyaki couldn't be done well in such a short time. He had nothing to do, so he went to the hot spring comfortably. Soo-yin, who was lying in the hot spring pool, suddenly remembered that he didn't even have a change of clothes. He had worn this set of clothes for several days. He didn't have any strenuous activities before, so it didn't matter if he didn't sweat. If he sweated, there would be residual alkali stains on the clothes. It would definitely be uncomfortable to wear. If such uncomfortable clothes were worn on the body just after comfortable in the hot spring pool, the uncomfortable feeling would definitely be very obvious. Forget it. There was nothing to pay attention to when going out. However, when Soo-yun got out of the shower and was about to go to the dressing room to put on clothes, he found that his clothes were gone. There was nothing left. Pants, top, and even underwear were all looted. Soo-yun's brain was really a bit confused. He couldn't just go out with a bath towel, right? This was not his own home nor a hotel. This was Okubo Chimi's boudoir. If this was seen by others, wouldn't it cause trouble for Okubo Chimi's reputation? Just when Soo-yun was helpless, he suddenly heard footsteps. He didn't even think about it. He took the towel to cover the important parts and hurried back to the hot spring pool. The pool was probably the safest place, right? Soon the door of the room was opened, and the door of the dressing room was also opened. Then a few footsteps were getting closer and closer. When the door of the hot spring room was opened, Soo-yun felt that he was blushing. Okubo Chimi didn't care about appearing in front of Soo-yun. Perhaps this was the cultural difference between countries. Soo-yun heard that there were many places in Dongying where men and women bathed together, so he didn't know if this was normal in Dongying. Whether it was normal or not, he used a towel to cover the important parts. He was not as open as the Dongying people. It was impossible for him to casually show his treasure in front of a girl. Right, I forgot to tell you just now. Okubo Chimi didn't come in after opening the door. Perhaps she was a little embarrassed. After you came to take a bath, I thought that you didn't have a change of clothes, so I told the aunt at home to help you collect the dirty clothes and take them to wash. She knocked on the door. Maybe you were too comfortable in the hot spring and didn't hear it. She was afraid of disturbing you, so she quietly took your clothes away. What the F***ck? Isn't this a little too gentle? Was this aunt a human or a ghost? Soo-yun really didn't hear it. Thinking about it, the Japanese didn't wear shoes when they entered the room. The sound of bare feet would definitely be very soft. The hot spring room and the changing room were separated by 2 doors. If they moved carefully, they might not be able to hear the sounds they made. Soo-yun noticed Okubo Chimi's footsteps because he was in the dressing room just now. There was no sound of water. He heard the sound of Okubo Chimi wearing clogs on the boardwalk outside, so he paid special attention. Okubo Chimi didn't deliberately walk lightly, so Soo-yun clearly heard her footsteps. Then I'd wear. Soo-yun smiled a little awkwardly. He couldn't be naked. I asked someone to go out and buy it for you. Okubo Chimi smiled slightly. If you don't mind, you can use a bath towel to temporarily block it. Or you can soak in the hot spring for a while. The clothes will be bought soon. Soo-yun nodded. Then I'll soak for a while. Good. Then you wait first. I'll get you the takoyaki I made. Since you can't come out, you can eat here. Okubo Chimi said. Soo-yun hurriedly said. It doesn't matter. I'm not hungry now. I'm not in a hurry. I'll put on my clothes and go out to eat later. No, it won't taste good when it's cold. Okubo Chimi said. You wait. I'll get it here for you. By the way, what kind of tea do you like to drink? I have a lot of tea at home. Every year, someone will go to Huaxia to buy new tea in the right season. How about Longjing? Longjing was bought from Suang not long ago. It's very good. Soo-yun nodded mechanically. He didn't know how to refuse. Okubo Chimi was too enthusiastic. She was so enthusiastic that he couldn't refuse her kindness at all. Forget it, the guest should follow the host's wishes. Okubo Chimi had arranged it, so he didn't have to go against her good intentions. Of course, Okubo Chimi didn't mean to go against Soo-yun's will. After she finished speaking, she turned and left. She didn't even have time to close the door for Soo-yun. Soo-yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. How timely must this octopus be eaten? Can't she wait for a minute? This race against time is like a firefighter. Soon, Okubo Chimi came back with a tray with a pot of tea and a plate of octopus. She returned with great interest. This time, Okubo Chimi didn't continue to stay outside the hot spring room. Instead, she walked directly to the hot spring pool with the tray. Soo-yun's nervous legs couldn't help but clench. Oh my god, isn't this too exciting? My brother, who can save me? Let Okubo Chimi pay attention to the cultural differences between the 2 countries. Taste my cooking. I haven't made this for a long time. My father used to like the octopus I made. Okubo Chimi seemed to have a father complex, and Suyin gave her a lot of feelings that her father used to give her, a sense of security. Perhaps because of this, Okubo Chimi didn't mind personally coming to deliver food to Suyin, who was naked, because she wasn't afraid that Suyin would do anything to her. Suyin gave her a sense of security, very, very security. She wasn't worried at all that Suyin would do something out of line, so she didn't mind. And this tea, I made it myself. Chapter 2056. After Suyin enjoyed the afternoon tea full of love, Okubo Chiaki's people finally bought the clothes, which fit him very well. He didn't know whether to admire the designer of this big brand, or to say that Suyun's figure was standard, a typical clothes hanger. After changing his clothes, Suyun's awkwardness was finally eliminated. At this time, the kitchen also prepared lunch, and Okubo Chiaki hurriedly pulled Suyin to eat. She knew that Suyin must be hungry, otherwise, he wouldn't be so anxious to eat the takoyaki, and wouldn't burn his mouth. However, after Okubo Chiaki brought Suyin to the dining room, the joy on her face instantly disappeared, because her peers who never eat lunch at home were actually present today. Okubo Aichi, the eldest brother of their generation, third brother Okubo Kawada, fourth sister Okubo Una, and sixth brother Okubo Mizuki. Except for the second brother Okubo Aichi, the others were all present. Yes, Okubo Chiaki was ranked fifth in their generation. In fact, their age difference was not much. Even the eldest brother, Okubo Aichi, and the sixth brother, Okubo Mizuki, were only 6 years apart, and Okubo Mizuki was only born a few days later than Okubo Chiaki. After seeing her brother and sister, Okubo Chimi knew that something bad would happen to them. "Why are you here?" Okubo Chiaki asked stiffly without any greetings or blessings. Okubo Aichi was slightly startled, ignored Chiaki's words, and continued to enjoy the delicious food in front of him. You know, these delicious food were prepared by Okubo Chiaki for Suyun. Now that she saw several people eat it, it really made Okubo Chiaki particularly unhappy. "Sister, this is my home. Why can't I come?" Okubo Mizuki said carelessly. "Are you going to drive your brother out of the house?" "I'm going home, sister. You know, I'm not here as a guest. Do I need to ask you for instructions?" Facing Okubo Mizuki's straightforward provocation, Okubo Chiaki didn't answer. She tried to restrain her emotions that were about to explode. "You still know that you have a home. How long have you not been back? Do you still remember? How long has it been since I last came back? This is still my home." Okubo Mizuki said disapprovingly. "As long as I'm alive, I can come back." Una Okubo also chimed in. "Yes, no matter how long we haven't been back, this is our home. We don't need to tell anyone when we want to come back. Chiami, you're Miss Okubo in front of others, but don't put on such airs in front of us, okay?" "Sis, that's not what I meant," Okubo Chimi said. "What does that mean?" Okubo Kawada also spoke. It could be seen that they were all against Chiami. Obviously, Chiami was the most outstanding young person in the Okubo family. She was in charge of everything in the family. Although none of them admitted that she was the absolute ruler of the family, outsiders thought so. Okubo Kawada threw away the cutlery in his hand. "Sunmei, shouldn't you explain? Second brother actually injured his foot in his own home. He might be crippled in the future." Okubo Chimi took a deep breath. "That's his own trouble. Do you want me to take responsibility for injuring his own foot? Second brother is an adult. He has his own ability to control himself, and he also has his own responsibility and obligation. So you mean this has nothing to do with you?" Okubo Kawada had always been like this. He spoke very bluntly. "Do you want to injure your third brother and send him to the hospital now? Ridiculous." Okubo Chimi had nothing to say to unreasonable people. "Enough." Okubo Aichi suddenly roared. "We're all brothers and sisters, but you all speak as if you've eaten gunpowder. Won't outsiders see our Okubo family as a joke?" Okubo Aichi didn't seem to be hostile to Chiami, but he put all the contradictions on Suyun. Yes, he wanted to hear how Chiami explained the appearance of this man. "Brother, I understand what you mean. Okubo Chimi knew her brother's thoughts too well. I'll introduce him to you now. He's Su-yin. Just 2 hours ago, our Southern District's cable-stayed bridge project was attacked by Nakata Kanzuya of the Weihei. While speaking, Okubo Chimi grabbed Su-yun's arm. When Nakata Kanzuya and the Weihei harassed our project, where were you? So many people were injured, and the project was stopped. Where were you? It was Su-yun who turned the tide and solved the problem. So I want to invite my hero, the benefactor of the Okubo family, to my home for dinner. Is that wrong? No one said you were wrong. Okubo Aichi said lightly. I just said not to quarrel in front of outsiders. Sister, don't say that as if the trouble caused by the project has anything to do with us. Okubo Mizuki said disdainfully. If it weren't for your nonsense and offending people, the Weihei wouldn't have casually provoked us. Don't you think the responsibility is on you? Okubo Mauna looked up and down at Su-yun with a smile on her face. She looked very interested. Chiami, if you invite a male friend to your home for dinner, sister won't say anything. But you invited him to your room to take a bath. This matter is somewhat damaging to the family's reputation, isn't it? I think we should eat lunch with our own family. With an outsider here, it's inconvenient to say a lot of things. Okubo Kawada took the opportunity to oppose Su-yun. If I were an outsider, I would definitely not participate in other people's family dinner. Who doesn't understand this little bit of courtesy? Several people talked back and forth, not giving Okubo Chimi a chance to refute. Okubo Chimi was really fed up. She admitted that the trouble caused by the Weihei was caused by her, but many times, the trouble caused by Okubo Mizuki outside was also solved by her. As for the fourth sister, Okubo Mauna's words, she was even more angry. Okubo Mauna was drunk a year ago and brought 3 men home to fool around in her room for a night. Her crazy wailing and howling was really heard by everyone. Okubo Kawada was even more hateful. When he said these words, did he not think that if it wasn't for Su-yun's help, the Okubo family would be in a very big trouble? These people really didn't have a normal mentality at all. There was only one thought in their minds, which was to use words that were vicious enough to provoke you. Okubo took a deep breath and suddenly shouted, "That's enough! All of you shut up!" This was definitely the first time she used such a voice to scold them. In the past, Okubo Chimi was really too gentle to them. So gentle that they mistakenly thought that she was a little sheep that could be easily bullied. It was only when the little sheep revealed its fangs that they were surprised, abnormally surprised. Although Okubo Chimi had done a lot of things in the past 2 years, she had never slammed the table and glared at them, nor had she really been so anxious. In an instant, the whole restaurant suddenly became very quiet. Perhaps some people were like this. When they gave a good face, they didn't know what they were. They could only use this method to tell them who was the master of the family. Chapter 2057. The silence in the dining room made everyone feel strongly uncomfortable for a while, and all the servants evacuated. After the door was closed, only their family members were left in the room. Yes, there was an outsider, Su-yin. It was reasonable to say that Su-yin should go out now. This was other people's family matter, and it was unreasonable for him to participate as an outsider. But in such a situation, Su-yin couldn't leave. He didn't want to let Okubo Chiami face the accusations of other siblings alone. At this time, she needed someone to rely on, and even if Su-yin didn't say anything, just standing here made her feel that she could rely on him. Although this seemed to be a little awkward for Su-yin, it was still a little awkward. "Brother, I just want to ask you one thing. Why did you come here today?" Okubo Chiami tried to calm herself down as much as possible. In fact, her brothers and sisters also knew that the entire Okubo family was now led by Chiami. If they really annoyed Chiami, it wouldn't be a good thing. It's just that Chiami was too kind to them on ordinary days, so they were used to showing off in front of her. "What have you done for the family over the years? You know it in your heart." Okubo Chiami continued. "If there's nothing, you wouldn't come here at all. You only like to live your decadent and luxurious life, and you don't think about the family matters at all. Say it why." Now that Chiami had made things clear, everyone's face showed a different expression. Okubo Mizuki was the first to speak. Okay, no one will say it, I'll say it, I'm the youngest, even if I said something wrong, I believe that everyone can forgive me. Her voice fell. Okubo Mizuki stood up. Sister Chiami, what is the identity of this huaxia? We all heard that you bought a golden Buddha's head from a cultural relic intermediary called Black Crow at a high price. And this Buddha's head, you want to give it to this huaxia. After that, he added. We also heard that second brother was injured yesterday because of this Buddha's head. And the injury is very serious, the whole left foot is comminuted, and it's not sure if he can be like a normal person in the future. As a younger brother, I have the right to care about my second brother, and I also have the right to know. If you really care about your second brother, then you should go to the hospital to see him, and find out why he was injured. Okubo Chiami said coldly. Don't tell me this kind of lie, I know what you're thinking. You haven't even been to the hospital, have you? Okubo Mizuki, she couldn't refute. She could only sit down and say, I know this shows that I care, it's better than not knowing. Mona Okubo glared at Mizuki. Pay attention to what you say. Don't think that you're better than me just because you told me something. Chiami, 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 Chiami. Chiami. It turned out that the rest of them weren't as harmonious as he thought, but for the sake of temporary interests, they wanted to join forces to deal with Chiami. If it weren't for this, they would probably go their own way on weekdays, and no one would pay attention to each other. Shut up, both of you. Okubo Chiami said coldly. He didn't want to see them quarrel in the blink of an eye. Chiami Okubo looked at Okubo Chiami. Brother, you're the oldest among us. Why did you come here? I just want to hear it from you. I don't want to hear other people's nonsense. Who are you talking about? Okubo Chiami glared at her. Don't pour dirty water on our heads. You're the one who's not kind. Well, since you want to listen to me, then I'll say it. Okubo Chiami cleared his throat. We've heard about the Buddha's head, and they mentioned it to you just now. I heard that you spent more than 6 billion yen on this Buddha's head. Is that right? Chiami Okubo didn't deny it. She nodded. This was a fact. Yes, that's right. I spent it. Okubo Chiami frowned. More than 6 billion yen. This isn't a small number for our family, right? How many large enterprises in Japan can't reach this number in a year? Yes, many enterprises can't reach this number in a year. Many enterprises under our Okubo family combined can only reach this income. Chiami Okubo not only admitted but also added. Okubo Mizuki couldn't help but say. You know that it's so difficult to make money, so why do you spend it so easily? More than 6 billion, Chiami, you're really ruthless. Do you know how many things you can buy with 6 billion? Okubo Mauna also said coldly. Of course I know. Chiami Okubo said. More than 6 billion can buy designer bags and high heels, enough to fill your entire room, leaving no gaps. These words were quite targeted, and Okubo Mauna's expression was ugly. I'm a woman, so what if I like to buy bags? It's better than you buying a Buddha's head for 6 billion. It's obvious who's more prodigal between the two of us, right? Yes, Sister Chiami, you're really too much. I wanted to buy a supercar for 200 million, but you didn't give it to me. Okubo Mizuki immediately stood on the same side as Okubo Mauna again. Chiami Okubo didn't think that she was wrong at all. Yes, so what? The value of the things we bought is not the same. Do you understand? Not the same? What's the difference? The things we bought are at least practical. What about the things you bought? What's the use of it? Giving it to a gigolo? Okubo Kawada sneered. You don't treat money as money, do you? Is this gigolo's kung fu that good? Don't confuse me with Sister 4. Chiami Okubo said coldly. Okubo Mauna snorted disdainfully. What about me? At least I dare to take responsibility for what I do. This is called being true to myself, unlike some people who are hypocritical. You've already left your man in your room, and you're still putting up a pure image here. Have you said enough? If you're done, then shut up. Are you here to quarrel or to do something serious? Are you not clear enough in your hearts? Okubo Mauna was also a little anxious. Every time he heard these guys wasting time, he felt an inexplicable anger. Okay, big brother, go on, Okubo Mizuki said. He also felt that it was time to get straight to the point. Okubo Mauna calmed his emotions. Chiami, in fact, the reason we came is very simple. You can give away the 6 billion yen Buddha's head, but this thing belongs to our Okubo family. In other words, this thing was bought with the family's money, and it belongs to the 6 of us. If you have something to say, just say it. Okubo Mauna didn't want to listen to him beat around the bush. So you can give away the Buddha's head. There's 1 billion for each of us. Okubo Mauna said. Do you think this is appropriate? To put it bluntly, these people really came here for money. As long as they had money, these people didn't care about anything, but for money, these people could think of any method. Chapter 2058. Okubo Chimi didn't hesitate at all. I think it's not appropriate to count it like this. Okubo Mizushi was the first to lose his composure. After all, he was the youngest, and his mentality wasn't as mature as Chimi's. He immediately showed his unwillingness. Why? Why is it not appropriate? More than 6 billion should belong to the 6 of us. Each of us has 1 billion in it. I think old 6 is right. Okubo Mauna rolled her eyes. We didn't split up, so everyone has the same rights to the family's things. Everyone had 1/6 of it. Don't even think about quibbling about it. Okubo Kawada also agreed with both hands. Yes, that's right. Everyone has 1/6. No one can have less. Okubo Mai saw that everyone's performance was very intense, and smiled knowingly. Chimi, you also saw that this is everyone's idea. I'm not the only one who thinks this way. That's the truth. Everyone has a share of the things that belong to the family. Okubo Chimi looked at them coldly. Is that so? Everyone has a share. That's what you said. Well, then I'll ask, does everyone have a share of the family's responsibility? Does everyone have a share when the family is in trouble? The few of them looked at each other, and didn't say anything. This matter was really hard to say. In the past 2 years, how much money the family has earned, you all know it better than the other. Okubo Chimi said, but how did the money get back, do you know? Which company lost money, and which aspect made a profit? Which project got back all the project funds, and which project hasn't paid more than half of the accounts so far, do you all know? In the face of Okubo Chimi's questions one after another, everyone was speechless. Including Okubo Mai, he didn't know the details of the family's accounts. He only needed to rely on his internal confidants who worked in the family to tell him how much money they earned every year. That was enough. What else was there to worry about? He only liked to travel around the world. He could live in Las Vegas for a month, and he could stay in Macau for half a year. He liked to sit in a hot air balloon in Turkey, and then have an unforgettable passion with his female companion in the air. He liked to experience the feeling of death at high altitude and lack of oxygen in Huaxia. If you asked Okubo Aichi to share his experiences of traveling around the world over the years, he would definitely tell you that he didn't need to rest for 10 days and 10 nights. However, if he was asked to talk about the income and expenditure of the family business, he really knew nothing about it. Yes, he knew nothing. He had no idea what had happened at all. This was what Okubo Aichi had been doing all these years. Who knows? Anyone who knows can come forward and tell me. Okubo Chimi said. How did you earn the money? How did he earn it back? Do any of you know? Mizuki, tell me. Okubo Mizushi was even more clueless. If it weren't for the special circumstances today, he would still be sleeping at this time. He wouldn't have woken up at all. His activity time was from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. the next day. Every day, he would wake up at 4 p.m. to wash up and eat, and then go out for a ride with his female companion. Nightclubs, bars, midnight snacks. Until the wee hours of the morning, his life had just begun. He only knew racing and still racing. The amount of money he had won from racing over the years could be counted on one hand. But the amount of money he had lost was already incalculable. Just the expensive luxury cars he had lost were enough for an ordinary Japanese family to live on for several generations. What kind of concept was this? This concept was that he didn't know how to earn the money back. In his heart, he thought that this money could be casually picked up. In his heart, money appeared in his house like rain when the wind blew. These people who didn't know what money was, how could they have the concept of earning money? How could they know that it wasn't easy for their family to earn money? Okubo Mizushi looked at his fourth sister. After all, his fourth sister in his heart had graduated from the best university in Japan with the best economics major. How did the family earn money? What kind of income and expenditure statements? She should be able to understand, right? Okubo Mizushi turned her head with a speechless expression. Why was he looking at her? Why did he have to ask her? She didn't have the time to understand these things. She had to be beautiful every day. Dressing up took time, makeup took time, beauty spa treatment took time, buying new clothes and bags took time, chasing after handsome guys took time. God, her schedule was especially tight. Sometimes she woke up very early in the morning, but by the time she asked the handsome guy to go back to her apartment, it was already very, very late in the night. She really didn't have time to worry about these things. Okubo Kawada was the only one left. When everyone's eyes were focused on him, he almost fell out with them. What are you all looking at me for? I know everything you know. And of course I don't know anything you don't know. Only a ghost would look at those things. I don't understand those financial statements. I only know how to look at the income and expenditure at the bottom. After saying that, Okubo Kawada looked at Qianmei confidently. Isn't that the case? Isn't that enough for you to know? I'm the ghost you're talking about. Only a ghost would look at those things. Okubo Qianmei said coldly. You all look at the family's financial statements every year, but none of you know where the family's money comes from. Humph. With this cold snort, even Okubo Aichi felt a little cold sweat on his body. It seemed that they were indeed a little unkind. They didn't know anything. That's it, and you still have the face to tell me that each of you got 1/6 of this 6 billion? Okubo Qianmei's anger had been ignited. When I was busy with the family's affairs, why didn't I see any of you come forward to share 1/6 of the burden for me? When I was trying my best to negotiate and compete with people for a project, why didn't I see any of you come forward to share 1/6 of the burden for me? Why? Why do you have to come forward to share 1/6 of the burden now? Who wouldn't be anxious? With such a group of brothers and sisters, it was simply the rhythm of exhausting oneself to death. Qianmei, you're wrong, Okubo Aichi said lightly. If you take all the credit for yourself, then what about us? Don't we have any at all? So the entire Okubo family is yours? Then why are we still talking about the family? Let's split up. As soon as this was said, everyone was immediately surprised. Even the other people were dumbfounded. Was the boss crazy? Split up. Wouldn't the family be disbanded? Boss, what are you saying? Okubo Kawada quickly got up to stop his brother. Okubo Mauna was also shocked, and then said, Yes, what are you saying? Qianmei, this is your fault. Even if you do more on weekdays, the capital you use to make money is the hard work of our fathers. At least we have some of this capital. So you're taking our money to make an investment. Of course, we should have a part of the return, right? Okubo Qianmei was no longer calm. Split up? Okay, then I'll agree to it. Let's split up then. Okubo Qianmei ignored Okubo Mauna's words and directly agreed to Okubo Aichi's proposal. Chapter 2059. Can't you consider the problem more comprehensively? Split up. Is the family something that can be split up just like that? Okubo Mizuki suddenly acted like he was reasonable. We can't split up. If we split up, wouldn't the Okubo family be gone? What would outsiders think of us? What would they think of us? What he said was absolutely reasonable, but Okubo Mizuki really didn't think so. What would he rely on to survive after splitting up? Family property? Don't joke around. Although it was a lot of money, if there was no continuous income, no matter how big the family property was, it would still be squandered by him. Although Okubo Mizuki didn't get married and have children, he had to think about it. If he was the sixth young master of the Okubo family, what girl in Japan wouldn't he be able to pick? If he was just a person who fell behind after splitting up, would there be any top-notch girls who would follow him? Even if there were, they could be carefree for the first half of their lives. But what about the future? What about the next generation? Okubo Mizuki didn't have much ambition. He just liked to be a parasite. He didn't have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of his life. If he wanted to spend money, he had money to spend. With such a large family property behind him, he had a lot of face in front of his friends. I think old Six is right. Okubo Mauna also didn't agree with splitting up. She thought the same as old Six. After splitting up, it was equivalent to taking a rooster that couldn't lay eggs. Although they could eat delicious chicken after killing this rooster, what would they eat after eating this rooster? Guarding the Okubo family was equivalent to guarding a hen that could lay eggs. Although they wouldn't be able to eat the chicken, they would still be able to eat the egg. If the egg hatched, they would still be able to eat the chicken. It was that simple. Okubo Mauna only said this to scare Chiami. He didn't expect Chiami to actually dare to agree. This wasn't a small matter, it was a big matter. Okubo Kawata frowned. Let me tell you, splitting up isn't something you can decide on your own. If we don't agree, the family can't be split. Why can't we split? Chiami Okubo said. We can just find someone to evaluate it. I don't want much. I only want 1/6 of the family property and property. You can choose whatever you want, and the rest can be given to me. I don't have any objections. I have objections. Not even a fraction. Wana Okubo's attitude was unusually firm. This family absolutely cannot be divided. If it is divided, it will really be over. Okubo Chimi said. Since you don't want to separate, that's fine. I'll take what belongs to me and leave. Since Big Brother has said so, why shouldn't I go along with him? Since he wants to see this result, and I also want to see this result, why can't I? Sister, you can't make decisions for me. I have the final say in my own affairs. If you don't want to share, I'll do it myself. You just want to be the center of the Okubo family. Okubo Mizuki said. We're family, so what's the point of you leaving? Have you ever treated me as a family? Okubo sneered. You only treat me as a family when you get paid, right? Okubo Aoichi saw that the situation was getting out of control, and his own emotions were also a little out of control. You can leave if you want, but you have to leave 5 billion yen after dividing the family property. That Buddha's head also belonged to the Okubo clan. It's impossible for you to take it away, and give it away without leaving a penny. Okubo Chimi looked firmly at Okubo Aichi. Okay, that's what you said. I'll definitely leave the money for you. Chimi, sit down. Don't be so impulsive. Okubo Mauna rarely treated Chimi so well. She quickly stepped forward to appease her. Big Brother is just being impulsive. Don't lower yourself to his level. You're my sister. How can I let you go? Absolutely not. I won't agree to this. I won't agree either. Okubo Mizuki said. He didn't believe that his big brother could take care of the family business after Chimi left. If he couldn't do it well, then the big family business was likely to be ruined in a very short time, which would be even worse. Okubo Kawata also looked at his big brother excitedly. Can you calm down? Do you know what you're talking about? Are you trying to destroy our whole family? Okubo Aichi also gradually began to calm down. He tried his best to quickly control his emotions. He regretted that his words just now had angered Chimi. Chimi, I lost control just now. In fact, what I said was just out of anger. Okubo Aoichi had never taken the initiative to admit defeat in this family, so it wasn't difficult for Su-yin to see what this family would be like without Okubo Chimi. Okubo Chimi's brothers and sisters were like parasites, clinging to her body for fear of falling. If Okubo Chimi really got rid of all of them, even if they sucked enough blood now, they would starve to death sooner or later, because no one would let them parasitize their own body. If Okubo Chimi had a choice, she wouldn't let these people parasitize her body. She just couldn't choose. These people were her family. Even if they weren't things, they were still related by blood. After all, they were great-grandfathers, although it had been many generations. But this kind of family concept made her unable to be ruthless. Originally, Okubo Chimi was really ruthless today. Even if she knew that if they separated, her father in heaven wouldn't forgive her. But she really couldn't hold on at that moment. She really didn't want to continue to raise these parasites. Chimi, I don't really mean to separate. I just think that since the other 5 of us are part of the 6 billion, shouldn't you give us what we deserve? Okubo Aichi said. Yes, that's what Big Brother means. Okubo Mizuki said. Sister, don't mind it. In fact, there are other ways to solve this matter. After that, Okubo Mizuki's gaze fell on Suyun's body. She looked at Suyun carefully from head to toe, and Suyun felt a chill all over his body. Okubo Mauna also suddenly understood the meaning of Old Six. She walked to Suyun's side with bad intentions. She kept throwing coquettish glances at Suyun, and her hands were not honest. She unconsciously touched Suyun's chest. This vigorous figure. No wonder Chimi can be confused by him. Little brother, you are really charming. Okubo Mauna said. You can make my sister so fascinated that she gave you such valuable things for free. Hee, your kung fu must be very powerful, right? What was in this woman's mind was all written on her face. Suyun dared to say that if it weren't for so many of her brothers and sisters present here, her hand would definitely dare to reach directly into his crotch. Thank you for the compliment. Suyun finally said his first sentence. But I don't need it. Yo, you're quite arrogant. Okubokawa had long been displeased with Suyun. He also understood Old Six's thoughts. He directly pointed his spear at Suyun. That Buddha head, my sister gave it to you, but it doesn't belong to her alone. It belongs to all of us, don't you think so? Suyun nodded and didn't intend to pay attention to him. Since you also admit it, then well, the 1 billion that belongs to my sister, she doesn't want it. But you must give me the 1 billion that belongs to me. Okubokawa said directly. I was the first to mention this to you. So when there is money, you must give it to me first, understand? Old 3, you're too much. If you have money, give it to me together. What do you mean by giving it to you first? Okubo Mauna glared at him. This Old 3 is really a shrewd thing. He is really too cunning. Chapter 2060. In the final analysis, they came for money this time. Other things didn't matter. As long as the money was in place, nothing was a problem. If the money wasn't in place, everything was a problem. At this time, you still have the mood to talk about this. Okubo Mizuki said. Although the problem of money does need to be communicated, shouldn't we pay attention to Sister Kiyomi's mood now? This kid's flattery was too timely. It was as if he could coax Okubo Chiyomi and Suyun so that he could get the money. For a time, the other 3 people stared at him, and they were all in a bad mood. Suyun frowned. These guys, for money, they could really say anything against their hearts. He really wanted to see what kind of tricks this guy could play. Just now they were fighting for interests. Now everyone began to fight for their own interests. Old Six is right. Okubo May nodded. Today's matter was caused by me. Okay, I'll go. After I leave, you may all be in a better mood. I'll go to the hospital to see your second brother. He's the one who needs comfort the most now. Okubo May said. You should really go and see him. Second brother usually only listens to you. As for us, we won't go. This matter really has nothing to do with us. If we go, they won't like us. I won't go either. Okubo Kawada said. I have some things in my room. I'm too busy. I don't have time. Okubo Mizuki was even more flattering. You all go do your things. I'll take care of Sister Chiyomi. I'll calm her down as much as possible. I don't need any of you to stay here. Go. Okubo Chiyomi was really annoyed. No matter what you want to do, I'll accompany you at any time. I'll make it clear today. I won't owe you any of you. Don't owe me any of you. Okubo Chiyomi had already thought about it. She would thoroughly calculate the company's financial accounts. She would calculate all the money they were responsible for, and let them see who was maintaining this family. Okubo opened the kitchen door and said to the servants, Make all the food I want again. If they are full, throw the rest of the food on the table into the dog room to feed the dogs. With the Okubo family's financial strength, the food that their dogs usually ate was specially prepared, and the beef that the dogs ate was not imported from Huaxia. They had to eat local beef because local beef was healthier. Today, Okubo Chimi ordered people to give the food to the dogs. Obviously, it wasn't because she wanted to save money, but because she wanted to express her dissatisfaction with these people. Even if they didn't touch the food, Okubo wouldn't eat it. From now on, she didn't want to mix with these guys. Tianmei, aren't you going a bit too far? We all have good intentions. If you behave like this, It will really make us feel bitterly disappointed. Okubo Mauna said coldly, but for the sake of you being my sister, I won't argue with you. After that, Okubo Mauna left. She had been restraining the emotions in her heart for a long time. If it weren't for those special reasons, she wouldn't have been able to restrain her good temper. Okubo Mizuki was also very sensible. I'm a little tired. I'll go back to my room to rest first. If there's anything, we can talk about it later. When they left one by one, Okubo Kiyomi's mood gradually calmed down. Su-Yun understood the dissatisfaction in her heart. After everyone left, he comforted her. Don't lower yourself to their level. I really don't know what I did in my previous life to have such peers in this life. Okubo Kiyomi's voice was very melancholy. If they could all be motivated, the Okubo family would never be like today. Those big political families dare to bully me because they know that no one can help me. What Okubo Kiyomi said was a very realistic fact. If the people of the Okubo family could be like her, even the big political families would be courteous to them. Today's situation would never happen. There would never be Yakuza groups smashing their construction sites one after another. The reason for all this was only because Okubo Kiyomi was the only one in the Okubo family who could carry this matter. Therefore, there were people who unscrupulously went to find trouble with them, thinking that Okubo Kiyomi couldn't do much by herself. This was indeed a fact. Just Chimi Okubo alone was able to ensure that the Okubo family could maintain its current status, when the previous generation of pillars of the Okubo family all died in a car accident. Chimi Okubo had already exhausted all her energy. As a girl, she had really done enough. She had overdrawn all of her abilities and everything she had. Okubo Kiyomi really felt tired, very tired. This family seemed to be glorious, but no one understood the hardships she endured. Everything was done by her alone, and all the hardships and difficulties were silently borne by her alone. As for these so-called brothers and sisters, other than eating, drinking, and playing, they could do nothing but live the same luxurious life as before. The funny thing was that they couldn't even understand the family's financial statement. All this was really ridiculous, too ridiculous. People who couldn't even understand the financial statement wanted to divide the family property with her? Did they know how to divide it? What did they know? They didn't know anything, they didn't understand anything. They couldn't bear any family property given to them. Even if they were given a share of the property, such as the shares of the car company, they couldn't keep it, because they couldn't afford the battles in the business world. The so-called business world was like a battlefield. This was not nonsense at all. Therefore, no matter what they were given, they couldn't hold on for 5 years. It doesn't matter. Aren't I helping you now? Su-Yun said. There is an old saying in Huaxia that goes like this. Therefore, when the heaven bestows a great responsibility on a man, it must first torment his will, toil his muscles and bones, starve his body and skin, and disturb his conduct. Therefore, everything that you are going through now is just a necessary process. Okubo Kiyomi nodded. I also know that this is a necessary process. But I really can't bear it anymore. I don't want to continue like this with them. I don't want to. In that case, the family will be scattered. Do you really think that's the ending your father wants to see? Su-Yun. No, your father definitely doesn't want to see such an ending. He must hope that you can support the family. Okubo Kiyomi was silent. Did she still have so much strength to support all this? There are many big families like this, with many parasites. But the people in charge of the family won't separate from these parasites, because they know that if the family doesn't scatter, everything will prosper. Su-Yun. The strength of the family is your greatest capital. If you separate from the Okubo family, you won't have the title of Miss Okubo as capital. Many things will be more difficult to solve. Although Su-Yun's words were unpleasant, they were very sincere, because this was a fact. In many businesses, everyone looked at a person's capital in many aspects. So even if Okubo Kiyomi's personal ability was great, no one would give her the opportunity to build a cable-stayed bridge because of her personal ability. They would choose a family that looked strong to do it. This was the meaning of the family, and also the necessity of the family. In fact, many people knew that the bigger the family, the better the business. And the more the family was scattered, the more impossible it was to build a big business. Chapter 2061. At this time, the kitchen sent the food that Okubo-chimi had personally ordered to the dining room. Although these were the food that Okubo-chimi had carefully selected for Soo-yun, she really wasn't in the mood to eat now. It was terrible. People are iron and rice is steel. If you don't eat, you'll be hungry. Soo-yun, you even told me that you're a Hwaseong expert. Don't tell me you haven't even heard of this sentence? No matter what, you'll have to eat. Okubo-chimi's face finally had a smile again. Where did you get so many ancient sayings? This sentence isn't an ancient saying. Soo-yun, this is called doggerel. But it makes sense, don't you think? Hurry up and eat. Do I have to feed you? If I don't eat, will you really feed me? Okubo-chimi suddenly looked up and asked Soo-yun. Of course. Soo-yun nodded. I've already said that I'm staying to help you. So whether you're bullied outside, wronged at home, or not eating, I'll stand up to help you. Okubo-chimi was a little moved, but this trace of emotion only flashed by because she knew that there was a fact that couldn't be changed. You can help me for a while, but you can't help me for a lifetime. After a while you'll leave, but I'll still stay here. Soo-yun knew what Okubo-chimi meant, but now he had to comfort her. No one can help you for a lifetime. Everyone is the same. To live in this world, you have to rely on yourself. Any benefactor in life can only help you for a while, but not forever. Okubo sighed in melancholy. Let me give you an example. For example, there are many rich second-generation heirs in Hwaseong. Some of them rely on the opportunities and first bucket of gold given by their parents, and quickly earn their first bucket of gold in their lives. Then they have their own careers and become successful. Soo-yun said. Then a portion of them rely on their parents to eat and wait for death. They rely on their parents for everything. Without any businesses of their own, they rely on their parents' businesses to make a name for themselves. Every day, all they know is to indulge in debauchery with their daughters. They travel all over the world eating, drinking, and having fun. This kind of people, when their parents fail in business or their parents leave, they will be crippled, completely crippled. This example was very simple. A rich second-generation heir, who treated his parents as his benefactors, and helped him once was a talent. Those who treated their parents as mountains of gold and silver, and wanted to be taken care of for the rest of their lives were useless. Soo-yun hoped that Okubo-chiaki would be the first type of person to treat anyone who helped her as a life experience, rather than a life support. Then why can they live in the family and let me take care of them for the rest of their lives? Okubo-chimi asked. Do you think their lives have any meaning? What's the difference between them and the Walking Dead? Soo-yun said. This is now. One day, when you are the center of the Okubo family recognized by all of Japan, what will they be? They can only be your appendages, and you can just treat them as if you were keeping them in captivity. Okubo-chimi looked at Soo-yun and didn't speak for a long time. When she completely understood, she nodded. I know what you mean. In fact, most of the time, I don't need to think so much. I just need to do what I should do. What belongs to me will eventually belong to me. Soo-yun nodded. Yes, what belongs to you will eventually belong to you. You can let them do whatever they want. Okubo-chimi's mood seemed to be much better. I don't want to panic, so will you feed me? Soo-yun generously picked up a piece of fresh and tender fish fillet, dipped it in sauce, and fed it to Okubo-chimi's mouth. Okubo-chimi ate it with joy. This mouthful of rice was like the energy block on the Transformers Autobots, filling Okubo-chimi with strength in an instant. Okubo-chimi realized that this was Buddha's fate. If she didn't want to protect this Buddha's head, she wouldn't have met Soo-yun. If she didn't know Soo-yun, she wouldn't have gotten so much faith and motivation to persevere. Today, Soo-yun not only helped her deal with one thing, but also helped her solve the insurmountable barrier in her heart. After crossing this barrier, she was no longer the weak Okubo-chimi. She knew that she had to establish her majesty in the family, and establish her status outside the family. Soo-yun was right. She wanted to let the whole of Japan know that the Okubo family was where they were today because of her, Kiyomi Okubo. She wanted all the Japanese to remember the Okubo family because of her, not because of the Okubo family. This belief was given to her by Soo-yun, and it was also given to herself. After lunch, Okubo Chimi's mood was better than before because of Soo-yun. If the others hadn't returned home, Okubo Chimi really wanted to invite him to her room. Even if it was lunch break, she wanted to watch Soo-yun fall asleep. This was really what she wanted now. She never lied to her feelings. But because those people were there, she still couldn't do as she wished. She could only compromise and let the servants clean up the guest room for Soo-yun again. The guest room didn't have a hot spring bathroom. Fortunately, Soo-yun didn't need it now. He just needed a bed for him to lie down and have a good rest, think about how to help Okubo Chimi, and then how to leave Japan. After returning to the room, Soo-yun lay down comfortably and looked at the ceiling. He couldn't sleep. He was thinking about where Lin-gu and the others were. Were they out of Japan's territorial waters? Were they on the high seas? Would they encounter any trouble on the high seas? Although few pirates dared to be rampant in the waters between Hwaseong and Japan. The reason was very simple. The two governments were at odds because of Turtle Island. The Japanese government was shameless. They shamelessly said that Turtle Island was theirs and even arranged for the Maritime Self-Defense Force. How could a defeated country that didn't even have an army have the nerve to call themselves a self-defense force? Self-defense my ass. The Japanese government wasn't particular. Hwaseong obviously couldn't indulge their bad habits. Warships, right? You have them, so do I. Not only do I have warships, but I also have nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers. What do I lack compared to Japan? Hwaseong has everything that Japan has. Let's see if you still dare to act pretentious after being slapped in the face. Since the Japanese didn't manage to act cool, they started spouting nonsense all day long. They were like gossipy women who gossiped behind people's backs, bragging in their own country, and spouting nonsense internationally. This was the most shameless part of the Japanese government. They were like a ridiculous monkey. Because of this, there were no pirates in the waters between Hwaseong and Japan. Who would be stupid? What if those monkeys angered the dragon of the East one day? What if the dragon slapped them? The dragon of the East could flatten Japan. Therefore, it was better not to show off in the waters between the two countries. Hwaseong might really get angry one day. That wouldn't be a joke. If they really let 3,000 city enforcement officers into Jingdong, Japan would be destroyed. Seriously, I'm serious. Don't laugh. Chapter 2062. Soo-yun couldn't sleep, thinking about the Buddha's head. Okubo Chimi couldn't sleep, thinking about her family's affairs. How could she make these parasites leave? They could be parasites of the Okubo family, but they couldn't disturb her life anymore. This was Okubo Chimi's only hope now. And this alone was probably difficult to meet her requirements. Since these guys came as a group, they definitely didn't want to return empty-handed. But it was really impossible for Okubo Chimi to take out 5 billion to divide among the 5 of them. The money she used to sell the Buddha's head was taken out from the stock market. Fortunately, she took it out in time, otherwise it would have been all in. Hwaseong's economic turmoil and stock market turmoil seriously affected Japan and other countries in Asia. In fact, everyone understood that with Hwaseong's current economic strength, any economic trend in Hwaseong would affect all countries in Asia. The impact of Japan was still very serious. Since the damn Abe family took over the government, Abe's words and actions had caused a lot of ethnic conflicts. It wasn't that Hwaseong people were narrow-minded, but that Abe was too thoughtless. Even Okubo Chimi, who was half mixed blood, had strong dissatisfaction with Abe. Because of some of Abe's bad words and actions, it directly affected the sales of Japanese cars in Hwaseong. Toyota Honda, the Three Musketeers of Japan, had a serious decline in sales. 10 years ago, the Mazda 6 that caused the wave of intermediate car control was completely depressed. The newly renamed its monthly sales could almost be described as pitiful. And the sales of purely imported cars from Japan fell even more. Coupled with the powerful price war between Germany and the United States, General Motors Buick could be reduced by 30,000 to 50,000 yuan. Even Volkswagen's Passat, which had always had a firm price, began to reduce its price. Where was the confidence they had when they sold the divine car Tiguan Golf a few years ago? In fact, it was all because they saw that Huaxia's economy would have a serious turmoil, so they lowered the price in advance. Before the stock market became a bear, car companies started to reduce prices to compete for sales. Some experts said that this was some kind of strategy to clear out the market and replace it. These knowledgeable emperors were all spouting nonsense. In fact, it was because the car company knew that if they did not hurry up and sell, the stock market would be finished after a while. At that time, there were many signs that Huaxia's economy would face a challenge. And there were signs of stock market turmoil at that time. Although at that time, they were really happy and the shareholders were overjoyed. But there was a saying that was very clear. What was spent was money, and what was earned was just a number. When you take advantage of this game that allows you to earn numbers, many people throw themselves into the stock market, borrow money, get loans. They crazily rush into the stock market, but how many of them can escape unscathed in the end? To put it bluntly, there really was an inside story. Those losers kept saying that they had insider information, but in fact, they were just bragging. There was a joke about a man eating breakfast at KFC while looking at the stocks on his phone. A beggar came in and stretched out his hand to beg. The man gave him a chicken wing and continued to look at the stocks. The beggar gnawed on the chicken wing and did not leave. He also watched from the side. After a while the beggar whispered, "The long-term average golden cross, the bottom of the KDJ value has repeatedly blunted, the bottom of the MACD value has deviated, and the energy tide has expanded. This stock is going to rise." The man was very surprised and asked the beggar, "You know this too?" The beggar disdainfully said, "Don't know? If I didn't know, would I be where I am today?" Huaxia's stock market collapse this time caused many Huaxia people to not even be able to eat, not to mention buying a car. Even if they had the money to buy a car, they would focus on the German and American models. The Passat had fallen to the 15,000 to 60,000 level, and the Regal could fall to the 15,000 to 60,000 level. Who would still buy a Japanese model? The price advantage was gone. This kind of chain reaction would naturally affect Japan. Japan was a big car manufacturer, and their technology was definitely very advantageous. In this T era, everyone thought that if a car didn't have a T, it wouldn't have power and wouldn't be energy efficient. And in Japan, the inconspicuous Mazda could develop the blue sky. The direct injection technology was also powerful, and the energy recovery could also greatly reduce the fuel consumption. The 2.5-liter engine was more fuel efficient than the Volkswagen 1.4T engine, not to mention the American model. Of course, this was not to praise how awesome the Japanese were. Didn't a Mazda 2 get smashed into two by a BMW 7 Series a while ago? Car haters would definitely have the chance to denigrate Japanese cars and spread the word that Japanese cars were unsafe. But to be honest, who wouldn't stop after being hit by that speed? Moreover, a Mazda 2 might not even be as expensive as a 7 Series with 4 wheels. After saying so much, it was actually just a problem, an economic problem. Huaxia's stock market was filled with smoke. After a few rounds of attack and defense, in a short 3 weeks, Huaxia's stock market fell by almost 30%, and its market value decreased by at least 18 trillion. Note that it was a trillion, not 100 million. The definition of a stock market disaster in developed countries was a 20% drop in a row. Although Huaxia could not compare to developed countries, this drop rate was really frightening. The impact of this rare stock market battle in history had far exceeded the scope of the stock market itself. Winning this stock market war was related to stable growth, and even the overall situation of Huaxia's economic reform. The continuous drop undoubtedly caused Huaxia's stock market to encounter a crisis. This crisis posed a huge threat to Huaxia's economy and financial system. The Japanese were indeed affected, but they had a solution. After all, they had experienced it before and had the experience to deal with it. The various pension funds and related institutions of the Japanese government were also actively protecting the stock market. The Japanese central bank's usual practice was to use 30 to 40 billion yen in the afternoon after the stock market fell by a large margin in the morning to buy the market performance of the stock market. Until now, the shares held by the Japanese central bank were about 2% of the total market value of the Tokyo stock market. Who knew what Huaxia would do to deal with the current situation? In fact, Suyin should have a headache about this matter, but Zhou Meiyan and Ruan Qingshuang didn't want to give Suyin too much pressure, so they didn't tell him that the company's stock had fallen by nearly 20% compared to a month ago. Okubo Chiami had some understanding of Huaxia, so she concluded that Huaxia's stock market would affect the Japanese economy, and thus the Japanese stock market. Then she withdrew one step ahead of time. It was because she withdrew in time that she made money, and the 6 billion yuan to buy the Buddha's head was earned by Okubo Chiami in the stock market. If Okubo Chiami took out another 5 billion now, she really didn't have it. So she was destined to disappoint her brothers and sisters and leave empty-handed. After all, Chiaki Okubo was not Warren Buffett. Anyway, it was impossible to agree to their conditions now. Okubo Chiami was very insistent on her own principles. Since they couldn't separate, then she had the final say in this family. Letting those guys see the current crisis of the family might be a way. Yes, let them see the state of the companies that the family held shares in now. Let them see the crisis that the family business was facing. Let them see how the country's economy was ruined by Abe's nonsense all day long. Then ask them, if they see Abe talking nonsense, will they also question him loudly? Was it because he didn't want them to lose money because of his nonsense? Chapter 2063. Now everyone had their own thoughts. Okubo Una returned to her room and had nothing to tidy up. The things left in this house were things she didn't like anymore. Although there were many clothes and shoes that she hadn't even worn, and some bags that she had only carried once, she didn't like them anymore. She wouldn't touch them again. Although she didn't live here for a long time, the room was cleaned every day. It was clean and refreshing. It was much cleaner than her own apartment outside. Her apartment outside was in a mess almost every day. Sometimes she would bring men back to fool around, and the next day, she would find that she could sleep in the bathroom or on the balcony wrapped in a quilt. Except for the housekeeper who came to clean it up twice a week, it was always in a mess on weekdays. Okubo Una couldn't stay in the room at all. She really slept a little too much yesterday. She slept all day and all night, so she was particularly energetic today. After being bored in the room for a few minutes, an idea suddenly arose in Okubo Una's mind. She thought of Suyin. This Huaxia man had some ability. He could make Chimi willingly give him the Buddha's head in her hands. He was definitely not an ordinary person. Well, then she, Okubo Una, really wanted to meet him and see what extraordinary this Huaxia man had. If he had a thick length that ordinary people couldn't reach, then maybe she should really enjoy it. Okubo Una was a woman who did things swiftly and decisively. She left as soon as she said she would. She got up and left without hesitation, and went straight to Suyun's room. The location of the guest room was not close to their room. At this time, only Suyun was staying in their house, so it was quite quiet. Okubo Una's footsteps quickly attracted Suyun's attention. Suyun's gaze was locked on the door of his room. He was sure that this was definitely not Chimi's footsteps. Okubo Una didn't even care about basic courtesy. She didn't knock on the door and directly opened it. Suyun looked at Okubo Una, who appeared at his door with a puzzled expression. He didn't know what trick this woman was going to play. Suyun-kun, can you invite me in to talk? As she spoke, she entered Suyun's room, and then slammed the door shut, not giving Suyun a chance to refuse. Suyun scratched his head. I'm sleeping. If you have anything else to say, can we talk after my lunch break? At this time. After the lunch break, you will definitely be with Qianmei. I won't have a chance. Awuna Okubo was full of energy. She didn't mind doing some crazy things at this time. Thinking about how exciting it would be if she slept with Chimei's man? Wana Okubo looked at Suyun with a burning flame in her eyes. She really had an impulse, a very, very strong impulse. She was a woman with no bottom line at all. As long as she was with a man who looked good, she would take the initiative to throw herself into his arms and let him do whatever he wanted with her. In short, she didn't care about those moral and ethical things at all. Those moral and ethical things were not worth mentioning to her at all. Take the initiative to deliver service? Su-yin frowned and sneered. I don't have money. I can't afford this kind of service. Su-yin was very bluntly satirizing Owuna Okubo's behavior was no different from a prostitute. But Owuna Okubo didn't seem to think that this was a satire at all. Instead, she pulled her clothes with a flushed face and said to Su-yin flirtatiously, If you like role-playing, I can play it. I really haven't played the role you said. I really want to try it and challenge it. Don't, Miss Owuna Okubo. This is your home. I don't dare to be so presumptuous. Su-yin, who knows if you want to play a badger game? If I just take off my pants and do something intimate with you, your brothers over there will jump out at once. Then they will catch you in bed. Su-yin would definitely not be able to defend himself. Su-yin certainly wouldn't be fooled by such a simple logic. What? Don't you believe in my kung fu? Su-yin Kuin, you have to believe me. I'm much more interesting than Chime. Owuna Okubo said. I will never let the man who has sex with me regret it. I guarantee that after you have the first time, you will want to do it with me urgently for the second time. After that, Owuna Okubo raised her eyebrows. I will suck you dry and let you taste what it really feels like to soar into the sky. F***CK. This woman is really flirtatious to the bone. Su-yin really wanted to ask her if she knew what shame was. As a woman, she could show this side in front of a man she just met for the first time. Su-yin was really drunk. I'm afraid that other than you, Owuna Okubo, there really isn't anyone else, right? Su-yin really wanted to interview this woman about her mentality. If she didn't develop in Japan's popular male and female action film industry, it was really a loss of a great talent. I don't think it's necessary. I can't afford it. Su-yin. Seeing that Su-yin was so unromantic, Owuna Okubo smiled disdainfully. Mr. Su, what is your purpose for approaching Chime? Isn't it because Chime is beautiful? Am I not better than her? She is a descendant of the Okubo family and so am I. Su-yin. Yes, I don't deny that you are all descendants of the Okubo family. But you are not her. Don't hide your motive. You can cheat the Buddha's head worth 6 billion yen from Chime's hands. You have your purpose. Owuna Okubo said. If you are here for the money and status of the Okubo family, you are the same as me. What do you mean? Su-yin was startled. Isn't this woman thinking too much? Aren't you approaching Chime for money? What she can give you, I can also give you. Owuna Okubo said. If you join forces with me, the two of us will combine. You help me, and we will drive everyone else out together. This way, the entire family will be mine. At that time, half of what I have will be half of what you have. Su-yin nodded. This woman really thinks a lot. And then you can have whatever you want. Isn't that good? Owuna Okubo said. Isn't this your purpose? Instead of pretending to be tired by Chime's side, it's better to cooperate with me and make things clear. What Chime can satisfy you, I can also satisfy you, including your needs in bed. After saying that, Owuna Okubo once again used her charming eyes to provoke Su-yin. Su-yin smiled slightly. What you said is really reasonable. It is indeed something that can be considered. Hearing that her proposal attracted Su-yin's attention, Owuna Okubo's expression was very excited. This was the effect she wanted. She also believed that no man could resist the temptation of money and women. Owuna Okubo could give him these two things, and she could even give him power. This was the capital she had the confidence to get Su-yin. It seems that Su-yin Kuin is a person who understands things. I like to cooperate with smart people. Owuna Okubo smiled. Then in order to make our cooperation more intimate, should we be honest with each other? When she said this, Owuna Okubo began to take off her shirt. She was still very interested in Su-yin, especially since Su-yin's current identity was still Owuna Okubo's man in her eyes. Therefore, being able to sleep with Chime's man was definitely something that made her very excited. Chapter 2064. Su-yin smiled and motioned to Owuna Okubo not to continue the next step. If you do this in my room and are discovered, then I can't explain it clearly. Especially if I'm discovered by Chime. Then wouldn't I be finished? You can rest assured that Chime is not a person who likes to disturb other people's normal lives. Ona Okubo said. You may not know this, but I know her, so you can rest assured and enjoy the joy of making love with me. She will never disturb us at this time. Seeing that Ona Okubo's clothes were about to be taken off, Suyin was a little dumbfounded. As you said, I really need to rest now. I'm not in the mood. Ona Okubo frowned. This was the first time she had seen a man who would refuse her. You must know that the men she had met before, even if they were almost destroyed by her, as long as she wanted to seduce them, they would definitely not be able to stand her seduction. No man would be able to withstand her seduction. She was just that confident. Could it be that Suyin was already tormented by Okubo Chimi yesterday? He hadn't rested yet? You and Chimi were tossing around very late yesterday, right? Ona Okubo questioned. Is Chimi so powerful that she can make you like this? You don't have any thoughts when you see me now? Suyin nodded along with her words. Yeah, Chimi is quite powerful. So, Suyin didn't finish his words and shrugged his shoulders. I will let you know that I am more powerful than her. Ona Okubo said. You chose to cooperate with me is the most correct choice. Since you can't do it now, then I will wait for you. I will give you enough time to rest. Tonight, I will wait for you. Suyin sighed helplessly. When did I agree to make an appointment with you? You're too self-aware, aren't you? You have to promise me that no matter what Chimi asks you today, you have to endure it. Ona Okubo said. Otherwise, you will definitely not be able to stand me. I will make you collapse. Suyin pointed to the door, indicating that she could leave now. I will consider your proposal, but now I really want to rest. Thank you for your cooperation. That's good. Mana Okubo nodded. I'll wait for your reply. After Una Okubo left, Suyun's ears could finally be quiet. When he thought of Una Okubo's means, Suyun felt ridiculous. This woman was really a weirdo. If she knew a good director, she would definitely ask him to persuade her to film porn. Not only could she satisfy her hobby, but she could also earn money. In fact, it wasn't just Una Okubo who wanted to communicate with Suyun. Una Okubo also wanted to communicate with Suyun, but he was a step too late. He saw Una Okubo go to Suyun's room. When Weena Okubo came out of Suyun's room, she was still tidying up the clothes that she had untied herself. This made Okubo Mizuki very surprised. It seemed that fourth sister had succeeded. No, this definitely couldn't happen. He also had to find a chance to get close to Suyun. In his eyes, Suyun was also a scheming man. He believed that Suyun had a purpose, so if he could get in touch with Suyun, he would have the same advantage as fourth sister. After Una Okubo left, Okubo Mizuki hurriedly ran to Suyun's room. He was the same as Una Okubo. They didn't know what politeness was. This might be normal in Huaxia. Some rich people's second generation didn't have any manners. They were all spoiled. But Japan attached great importance to this kind of cultivation. If they could be so rude, it was obvious that they were the best. F***ck. Suyin almost cursed. If Una Okubo, a woman, could use her feminine charms to fool around, then Okubo Mizuki, a man, could it be that he wanted to be gay? Even if Okubo Mizuki had that kind of hobby, Suyin wasn't interested. It was too F***king disgusting. What exactly do you want? Suyin looked at Okubo Mizuki helplessly. If you don't want me to rest, I can leave. Okubo Mizuki didn't come to quarrel. He smiled. I know, I saw it. Just now fourth sister came to your room, and between the two of you, I understand. What do you understand? Suyin was stunned. Nothing had happened yet, and this guy already understood? Was he trying to blackmail him? I saw fourth sister tidying up her clothes when she came out, Okubo Mizuki said. Suyin almost collapsed. Yes, she was tidying up her clothes. But let me tell you, I didn't touch her clothes. She took them off herself. Understand? Understood. Okubo Mizuki said. I know too well what kind of person fourth sister is. She's such a proactive woman. But I have to say that she's very charming, don't you think? Even I sometimes have impulses for her. Suyun had goosebumps all over his body. Was there any morality or ethics left? But since she's already your woman, I definitely won't have any thoughts. Besides, she's my sister after all. At most, I'll just think about it. Okubo Mizuki said. Unless she takes the initiative to ride me, I won't push her. How open-minded. These people were really psychopaths. How empty must they be to say such things? How empty must they be to do such things? If you want, you can go. No one will stop you. Suyin. Okubo Mauna was already perverted enough, but this Okubo Mizuki was even more perverted. Okubo Mizuki said, no. How could I do that? Hehe, but Suyin-san, there's something I think I need to tell you. I just want to sleep. I don't want to hear it. Suyin. He could tell what this guy was thinking at a glance. He wanted to get close to him. He had the same idea as Okubo Mauna. This is very important to men. Okubo Mizushi didn't care whether Suyin liked to hear it or not. I just did a preliminary calculation of the time my fourth sister took to go in. It's only about 7 or 8 minutes. This isn't ideal. As a man, this might not be enough to satisfy a woman's needs, especially a woman like my fourth sister. Suyun's jaw almost dropped. Wasn't his imagination too rich? Since I'm here, it means that I treat you as a friend. Okubo Mizuki said. I have something good that I've never shared with anyone before. If you need it, I'll immediately have someone prepare some for you. It's a spray with an absolute time delay. Everyone who uses it says it's good. I don't tell the average person. Did this guy watch too many Huaxia commercials? Suyin pointed to the door and said, You can leave. I don't need it. I know you're embarrassed. Men don't want to admit that their time is short. Okubo Mizuki said. But I'm really doing this for your own good. If you really want to take down my fourth sister and tie down my fifth sister at the same time, you'll definitely need this. Are you crazy? Suyin said. I know what you're thinking. You want a share of the Okubo family. I can turn a blind eye to it. I can even help you. We can work together. Okubo Mizuki said. We can earn money together. I've seen people scam their own family, but I've never seen such a scammer. This guy's head must have been kicked by a donkey. I'm really proud of your two sisters for having a brother like you. Suyin said. I just want to rest. Please leave. Thank you. If you need anything, you must tell me. Okubo Mizuki thought that Suyin was angry because he was right, so he didn't care. As he got up, he emphasized that Suyin had to find him. His goal was achieved. He was able to talk to Suyin. This was better than his brothers. Chapter 2065. Everyone in the Okubo family had their own ideas. Some wanted to get close to Suyin, and some wanted to eradicate Suyin. Of course, Okubo Aichi didn't go to the hospital to see him because he was worried about Okubo Aichi's injury. He wanted to work with Okubo Aichi to find a way to do something. And in the family, he felt that the only two people who could be useful to him were Okubo Norihei and Okubo Kawada. This was because Okubo Mauna wasn't even his younger sister in his eyes. She was just a playboy. And Okubo Mizuki was even more useless in his eyes. He didn't know anything and only knew how to play. Kawada, I think there are some things we should talk about. This matter is definitely not as simple as we think. Okubo Aichi didn't go far after leaving the house. He stopped the car and made a phone call. Mauna and Mizuki must have their reasons for staying. What do you think? After Okubo Kawada received the phone call, his expression had been uncertain. His position was very vague. Brother, you said that because you suspect that I have other reasons for staying at home, right? Kawada, I know you're not that kind of person. Okubo Aichi said. I'm calling you now because I don't want our family to be controlled by an outsider. What do you mean? Okubo Kawada said. Outsider? Do you think that Suyin will take our family? Of course. Okubo Aichi nodded. The matter is very serious. Don't you think so? This person has completely captivated Qian Mei. She bought and gave away something worth 6 billion yuan just like that. When have you ever seen Qian Mei so generous? Thinking about it, it was true. Okubo Kawada had never seen Chimei so generous. In his impression, Chimei was very concerned about the family's funds. It was impossible for them to get tens of millions more. And a Buddha's head worth more than 6 billion, she gave it away just like that. This Su-yin had definitely completely bewitched her. Can't you see? Mizuki is a spineless coward. He must have already taken this guy called Su-yin as his brother-in-law. Okubomai said. His purpose for staying here is too obvious. He just wants to suck up to him. Why did I call you out instead of him? It's because I know you're not the kind of person who would compromise. Okubo Kawada frowned. He really felt an unusual sense of crisis. He felt that this matter was indeed strange. Maybe Mizuki was really like this. Wu Nai is our younger sister. Don't we know her too well? She grew up with us since she was a child. She was already precocious when she was in elementary school. She hung out with the boys every day. Okubomai said. What she did at Tokyo University was even more famous in the whole school. She had stayed in the male dormitory for 10 whole days. What does 10 days mean? Okubokawa had heard of this matter, and Okubo Mauna did indeed have the title of 100 People Slayer at Tokyo University. In other words, she had slain over 100 male students at Tokyo University in those 10 days. Based on this point alone, Okubo Mauna's reputation was definitely famous inside and outside. In this city, who didn't know that Okubo Mauna liked handsome men? Her level of infatuation was definitely not something that an ordinary person could compare to. Some people even compared her to some super girls. She has no resistance to men. Okubomai said. Didn't you see the way she looked at Su-yin? Moreover, this Su-yin is now Chimei's man. If Wu Nai can sleep with Chimei's man, what kind of stimulation would that be for her? She definitely won't let go of such an opportunity. Okubo Kawada said. Since Su-yin can charm Chimei, if it's Wu Nai, it's even more impossible to resist this man's charm. So our current situation is very bad, very critical. Okubomai said. What if this man joins forces with them and really kicks us out of the family? We must have this sense of crisis. When Okubo Kawada heard this, his heart instantly trembled. If we don't get rid of this man, then there are only two things that will happen to us. First, we will become a puppet like them and be controlled by this man. Second, we will become a pitiful worm kicked out of the family. Okubomai said. We must form a united front with your second brother. We must find a reason to suppress Chimei. That's the only way we can keep our position in the family. Brother, will this matter be so serious? Although Okubo Kawada felt that this was a bit alarmist, but after thinking about it carefully, it was indeed so. Okubomai nodded. It's really that serious. We must take precautions. Once something happens, we will have no chance to make up for it. Now that Chimei has been completely controlled, and Wu Nai and Mizuki have delivered themselves to our door, we must think of a foolproof way to make the two of them stand on our side again. Okubo Kawada's mood was very anxious. But what can we do to make the two of them stand on our side? This is impossible, they obviously have the advantage. Chimei's control over our family is too great. Okubomai said. So we have to make some trouble for Chimei, so that she has no time to care about those things. In this way, we will have a chance to get rid of that Su-yin. Brother, I ask you to use your brain when doing things. That Su-yin is a master, haven't you heard? Okubo Kawada said. My people told me that on the Diagonal Bridge, he single-handedly dealt with nearly 100 people from the Yaihekai. Among them, the two masters invited by the Yaihekai didn't even dare to do anything to him and ran away. Okubomai nodded. Of course I heard about this matter. But we can't give up our opportunity because of this. Your second brother is injured. This is an opportunity. As long as he is willing to cooperate with my idea, we can make trouble for Chimei. When Chimei is in trouble, it will be easy to deal with. What should we do? Okubo Kawada had no backbone. He felt that everything could only rely on his big brother. When the time comes, we will find a way to contact the Yaihekai. Nakata Kanzuya will certainly suppress his anger. And as for their president, there is no need to say. Okubomai said, as long as we are willing to give them a chance, they will be willing to cooperate with us to get rid of Su-yin. Okubo Kawada was somewhat surprised. Boss's method was indeed feasible, but it was a bit too insidious. And it was also quite risky. Brother, have you ever thought that if the Yaihekai people get rid of Su-yin, they will definitely make trouble for us? Okubo Kawada said. Okubomai gave him a choice. Are you willing to be kicked out of the family, or are you willing to suffer some losses from the Yaihekai? Which is more important, you know in your heart. Okubo Kawada was indeed clear in his heart. To do or not to do you choose. Okubomai said, I will go to the hospital now. If you are willing to stand on my side, come with me. After a pause, Okubomai continued. If you don't want to, then I won't force you, but if I can solve this problem, then can you still be considered a brother I can trust? Brother, of course I will go with you. I don't want to become a puppet, and I don't want to be kicked out of the family. Okubo Kawada said, we brothers will definitely be able to drive out the outsiders. This is my brother. Okubomai said, let's go, we will go to the hospital now. Chapter 2066. After an afternoon of recuperation, Okubo Chimi was in a much better mood. After a short lunch break, a lot of things came to Okubo Chimi. She needed to deal with a family matter, but she was used to it. After Okubo Chimi asked the servants to prepare coffee, she began to deal with some urgent matters and documents. Generally, she chose to deal with these things at home. It was quieter at home, and her mood was calmer. After Okubo Chimi dealt with some urgent documents in her hand, she stretched. Time passed quickly, and it was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At this time, Suyin came to her side. You slept for a long time, right? Okubo Chimi smiled slightly. Is it because you didn't rest well last night? Do you want me to arrange someone to make you a Japanese-style pine bone? It's very tiring. Suyin shook his head. No, I did some exercise in the morning, and my muscles and bones are all open. In fact, he woke up a long time ago, but he thought that Okubo Chimi was dealing with family matters, so he didn't disturb her. He breathed in his room for a while, and adjusted his breath. Recently, he felt that his breath was improving slowly. He didn't know if it was because he had too many things to do, or because he neglected his cultivation. Okubo Mauna and Okubo Mizuki stayed at home, so Okubo Chimi didn't want to stay at home. Let's go out. I'll take you to a place to see cherry blossoms. Suyin was startled. Didn't the cherry blossoms in Japan pass in March or April? Now, it can't be. Isn't it only 20 days to see cherry blossoms? Shouldn't the cherry blossoms be gone by this time? Okubo Chimi saw Suyun's surprise. Of course, the cherry blossoms in this place are indoors, simulating the March season. There will always be cherry blossoms blooming. There's such a place. Suyin. Wouldn't the cherry blossoms bloom forever? This isn't natural. So it doesn't have the spirit and power of cherry blossoms. But you came at a bad time, so you can only make do. Okubo Chimi said. Do you know the legend of cherry blossoms? Suyin shook his head. He was a man, so he really didn't know about flowers and plants. Cherry blossoms have existed in Japan for over 1,000 years. It was only during the Edo period that cherry blossom appreciation became a custom in Japan. As our national flower, cherry blossoms are very popular in Japan, just like how Huaxia people love peonies. Okubo smiled. Actually, Huaxia people's love for Huaxia's national flower is far inferior to your Japanese love for cherry blossoms. Suyin. Cherry blossoms are a symbol for Japan, but peonies are really not a symbol for Huaxia. Chiami Okubo said, because your Huaxia has too many symbols. The Great Wall of China, the Terracotta Army, Confucius, the 5 sacred mountains, the Yangtze River and the Yellow River. There are too many. Suyin did not deny this point. He was very proud. After all, Huaxia had such a long history. Pride. Pride. Japan doesn't have that many things. Therefore, every year during the Cherry Blossom Festival in Japan, whether it was the parks or the streets, they were filled with the smell of cherry blossoms. Cherry blossoms are beautiful, but they wither easily. From blooming to withering, it only takes 7 days. That's why there's the saying 7 days of cherry blossoms. The cherry blossoms will always wither in an instant when they bloom beautifully. It's very straightforward. That resolute determination has a shocking power. This is the spirit of cherry blossoms, which is also the cherry blossom complex of us Japanese. Okubo Chiami also loved cherry blossoms very much. Sis, are you going to see cherry blossoms? Let's go together. I also want to see cherry blossoms. Okubo Mizuki appeared out of nowhere and heard everything. Okubo Kiyomi's mood to admire cherry blossoms instantly disappeared. Why were they everywhere? It was really a killjoy. Sis, I also have a love for cherry blossoms. If I don't see cherry blossoms today, I'll definitely die. I'll be very sad. Even if you don't go, I still want to see cherry blossoms. Since you're going, that's good. Okubo Mizuki said again. Let's go together. I'll drive you. Su-yun could see Okubo Kiyomi's helplessness. She definitely didn't want to go. If you have a love for cherry blossoms, you can go by yourself. I don't have a love for cherry blossoms and I'm not interested. Okubo Kiyomi nodded. Although I have a love for cherry blossoms, I won't die if I don't go. Since Su-yun doesn't want to go, I won't go either. You go by yourself. Otherwise, you'll really die at home. Hurry up and go. Okubo Mizuki sighed unhappily. You guys are really boring. I took the initiative to be friends with you out of goodwill. You don't have to keep driving people thousands of miles away, do you? I just don't like to make friends with strangers. Su-yun said. Sorry to disappoint you. Okubo Mizuki smiled bitterly. Stranger? If you really become my fifth brother-in-law one day, then you won't be a stranger. What nonsense are you talking about? Okubo Kiyomi glared at Mizuki. She felt that she had such a brother. It was really shameful in front of Su-yun, and it was really embarrassing for Su-yun. Let me tell you, my relationship with Su-yun is not as dirty as you think. We are just friends. Okubo Mauna also joined them at this time. Kiyomi, this is what you said. If you're just friends, then I'll pursue you openly. What do you mean? Okubo Kiyomi was startled. She didn't know when Mauna appeared. I mean, I like Su-yun and I want to date him. You are friends. I didn't offend you, did I? Okubo Mauna said. She thought that since Kiyomi felt that it was shameful to admit it, then she would make it clear. This way, she wouldn't be in the wrong. Okubo Kiyomi was completely speechless. I said it first. Okubo Mauna said. Kiyomi, you can't take away my love. Are you done? Okubo Kiyomi's patience really reached the limit. Okubo Mauna snorted, and then whispered in Su-yun's ear. She doesn't even dare to admit your identity. Do you think it's better to be with her, or with me? Kiyomi is right. We are friends. Su-yun smiled and looked at Okubo Mauna's ecstatic face. He continued. And my relationship with you is that of a stranger. You'd better not be so open. I am a Hwaseong person. I am very conservative. Okubo Mauna's mood fell to the bottom. This damn Su-yun dared to say such a thing to her. Is he really immune to women? Can you not disturb us? We just want to be alone. Okubo Kiyomi said. Just take it as I beg you, okay? Of course. Okubo Mizuki continued to flatter. Actually, I also want to be alone. Don't you want to see the cherry blossoms? Okubo Mauna said. Go and see it, lest you die if you can't see the cherry blossoms. Okubo Mizuki glared. Sister, don't say such unpleasant words, okay? You stay here, and I didn't say anything about you, right? Is it interesting for you to target me like this? Of course it's interesting. Okubo Mauna snorted. If it's not interesting, why would I stay here? She was now full of anger and had nowhere to vent. Since Okubo Mizuki wanted to hit the muzzle of the gun, then she would satisfy him. Su-yun, come with me to my room to talk. There are 2 flies here, they're really annoying. Okubo Kiyomi said without any trace of politeness. After saying that, she took Su-yun and left her office. Chapter 2067. Okubo Kiyomi's unreserved disgust made the other 2 very embarrassed. After they left, Okubo Mauna's eyes were full of resentment. What kind of woman do men like? Okubo Mauna's eyes were cold. Mizuki, if you were to choose, who would you choose? Between me and Kiyomi, who do you think is more suitable to be a man's woman? Okubo Mizuki had no intention of flattering. Of course I would choose you. Why? Okubo Mauna was very satisfied with this answer, and she was not surprised at all. Normal men would choose her. Sister Kiyomi, I can't imagine it. If she was in bed, she would definitely be a zombie. How could she be so hot? Okubo Mizuki said. Which man doesn't want his woman to be coquettish when they are in bed? If she is hee-hee. 2 consecutive hee-hees had 100% shown that he was not interested in Okubo Chimi. Yes. But why does Suyin, this man, like that kind of woman? My Okubo said. I can make him go completely crazy in bed. Can Chiami do it? It's impossible. And I can't compare to Chimi. In terms of figure, if I have breasts and a curvy back, which man won't scream for me? Okubo Mizuki chuckled. In fact, it was normal for fourth sister to have this confidence. With her figure, she could indeed make any man crazy for her. If there was a deficiency, it was probably her gentleness and obedience. There was no way to compare with fifth sister. Maybe I like this kind now, Okubo Mizuki said. Besides, in terms of appearance, Okubo Chimi was naturally better. That almost flawless face could really make men unable to extricate themselves. To put it bluntly, the first time a man looked at a woman, he really didn't look at the figure or the breasts. The most important thing was the face. As long as the face was exquisite enough, even if there was no curvy front and back, it could still make men crazy. Perhaps Okubo Mauna would never accept this, because she didn't think that she was not as beautiful as Chimi. She only thought that they each had their own merits. Chimi was more delicate and pure, and she was more charming and enchanting. After Mauna left, Okubo Mizuki thought carefully. If he had to choose again, he would change to another person. After all, no man would want to have a woman who could kill 1,000 men by his side. Although this woman might make him as a man every day, he still felt that it was better to change his choice. In the hospital, Okubo Mauna was angrily venting the anger in his heart. His entire foot bone was smashed fractured. This was a very painful and fatal blow to him. This meant that he would become a cripple in the future. And he would never be able to walk like a normal person. Who could understand this pain? Who could bear this pain? Why did he have to bear this kind of pain? Why did God have to play this game with him? It was all because of that damned Buddha head. That damn man. And that damned Okubo Chimi. If it of Mauna it Mauna, of Mauna of it Mizuki. Of Mizuki. That's how it is. We have to find a way to protect our own interests. Okubo Mauna told Okubo Mauna everything that happened today. Of course, his premise was that he and Mauna went to seek justice for Okubo Mauna. He didn't say that they went to ask for the Buddha's money. Second brother, I think what Big Brother said is reasonable. We have to find a way to protect our own interests. Otherwise, we will really be driven out of the house. Okubo Koeda had been successfully brainwashed. Okubo Mauna angrily threw the teacup on the table beside the bed to the ground. Chimi is getting more and more ruthless. If she really wants to force us into a dead end, then we must not sit still and wait for death. Brother, tell me if there is any way. I will definitely stand on your side. Okubo Mauna nodded. What he wanted was this sentence. What you have to do is very simple. Arrange for your people to spread the news that your foot was deliberately injured by Chimi, and then spend money to find some reporters to strengthen the momentum. Public opinion will naturally force Chimi into a desperate situation. Okubo Mauna nodded. And then we will denounce Chimi together. I will find a way to persuade Mauna and Mizuki. It doesn't matter if they don't join. Okubo Mauna said, but I believe that as long as our momentum is strong enough, they will definitely choose to stand on our side after seeing it. Brother, can we really drive Chimi out of the family like this? Okubo Koeda said. What if she doesn't? Okubo Mauna said. I know Chimi's temper and character. Once she is really impulsive, no one can stop her. When the time comes, as long as she says anything careless, we have to catch it. I am also sure that Chimi will dare to say that she would rather leave the family without taking a penny. Okubo Mauna said. As long as we can force her into a certain situation. Okubo Mauna said. Then at this time, I can go to the Yukai for help and suppress that Suyin around Chimi. As long as the Yukai can help us drive these two people out of the Okubo family with nothing, we are willing to give them a lot of money. When Okubo Mauna heard this, he felt particularly relieved. Yes, we must get them out of our family. Even if we don't force Chimi into a dead end, we must force that Suyin to die. If it weren't for him, Chimi probably wouldn't treat us like this. Okubo Mauna said. Now in Chimi's eyes we are a burden. She thinks she is supporting us. Speaking of this, Okubo Mauna and Okubo Koeda were a little uncertain in their hearts. Wasn't it? It was Chimi who had been supporting this family all this time. Okubo Mauna saw the doubts of the two. Don't worry, it will be the same without her. Don't think that if we drive Chimi out, we will have no way to survive. I was worried about this problem today, but now I have thought it through. It is nothing. We can hire a professional manager. Yes, find a professional manager. As long as they found such a person to help them manage the family business, they could continue to be carefree. Moreover, this professional manager would have to listen to them, unlike now, where they still had to give face to Chimi. Some things were often thought of in a flash. Okubo Koeda slapped his thigh. If they had thought of this at noon, they wouldn't have been so humble to Chimi. As long as this idea was told to Wunai and Mizuki, the two of them would definitely support it 100%. My plan is like this. If you support me, we will always stand on the same side and never retreat. Okubo Mauna said righteously. The two of them expressed their loyalty and would definitely support their big brother's decision and plan. Okubo Mauna vowed to take revenge. If he couldn't see Chimi and that man fall, he wouldn't be able to swallow this anger. I will go and talk to Wunai and Mizuki now, Okubo Koeda said. I guess the two of them have already been humbled by now. They must be very unbalanced in their hearts. I don't believe that the five of us together can't take down Chimi alone. Okubo Mauna nodded. You go and talk to them. If they really understand, let them follow you to the hospital. Your second brother and I will wait for your good news here. Okubo Koeda's heart had already flown out. At this moment, he just wanted to solve this matter as soon as possible so that he could rest easy. The sooner they implemented the plan, the sooner they would be one step closer to success. Chimi, it's not that we are unrighteous, it's you who is heartless. Chapter 2068. Capturing Okubo Mizuki was a very simple matter. He didn't have any position, and he didn't get any recognition here today, so choosing to repent was his only way out now. However, Okubo Mizuki still didn't give up. She felt that with her own ability, she could hook Suyun's soul to her side. Or perhaps it was because she couldn't accept the frustration of not being as charming as Chime, so she didn't listen to any advice at all. Or what she cared about was not whether the family would be in crisis at all. Instead, she cared about whether she could seduce her sister's man to her side. She didn't think that the family would be in any crisis at all, nor did she think that she would be directly kicked out of the family in the future. Okubo Mizuki felt that she should learn from Wolf. Be patient and wait quietly for the opportunity. As long as she was given enough time and an opportunity, she would definitely be able to take down Suyun. Although the waiting process was quite unbearable for Okubo Mizuki, of course the opportunity came in the end. Suyun couldn't stay in Okubo Chime's room overnight. If anyone saw this and spread it out, it would have a great impact on Chime's reputation. After all, Chime and her sister Unai were not the same kind of people. She carried the reputation of Miss Okubo. When Suyun returned to his room, it was already very late. He stayed with Okubo Chime to avoid other people in their family from contacting him. However, Suyun really didn't expect that Okubo Mizuki was so unscrupulous. She didn't care about her reputation at all, nor did she care about the impact of her behavior on the reputation of the Okubo family. When Suyun saw the charming figure push the door open and appear in his room, he really couldn't believe it. In this way, Okubo Mizuki broke into Suyun's room. Suyun's first thought was very simple. He admired the designer who designed this kind of particularly sexy clothing. This kind of looming feeling could be called a super visual feast. Wana Okubo really used all her skills, and her only purpose was to make Suyun completely become a plaything in her hands. If it wasn't for Suyun and Chime chatting in the afternoon, and telling Chime about her behavior towards him, and then learning from Chime about Okubo Mauna's title of being able to kill thousands of people, He really might not be able to withstand such direct teasing and temptation. Su-yin was a clean freak. He didn't doubt at all whether Mauna Okubo was sick or not. This was really too scary. If you really want to work with me, then don't continue with your performance. Su-yin, I can tell you clearly that I'm just playing around with Qianmei. I don't like women at all. Wana Okubo was almost stunned by Su-yun's words. Could it be that there are really so many men now? If we want to work together, then we can be good sisters. Su-yin, I've already won over Qimei and you. I don't want to continue lying to you. We can get to know each other in a sincere way. You're not joking with me, right? Wana Okubo, who had been aroused by her own hot dance, felt like a basin of cold water was poured directly over her head. Su-yin nodded. Of course not. I'm very honest with you, this is a fact. I'm doing it for money. If you're willing to give me money, I can help you become the head of your Okubo family, and I can help you pull down Qimei. Wana Okubo was really a person without any schemes. In her world, it seemed that in addition to branded luxury goods, there were only men, and still men. She didn't even think about how Su-yun's attitude changed so quickly. It was because Su-yun said that he could help her defeat Qimei, and she believed it. How do you want to help me? Wana Okubo's jealousy towards Qimei had actually existed for a long time, but she had never shown it, or it could be said that no one helped her dig it out. When Su-yun gave her such an opportunity, her jealousy quickly swelled. Indeed, compared to snatching Qimei's man, snatching everything from Qimei was what she wanted. You can also see that Qimei is now completely under my control, otherwise, she wouldn't give me such a valuable thing for nothing. Su-yun, if you want to become the leader of the family, then Qimei is no longer your opponent. I can help you solve it easily. Wana Okubo said. You can solve Qimei? But you like men. For money, sometimes people can sell everything they have. Su-yun acted like a villain who would do anything to achieve his goal. I can do something I don't like, but when I get it, I won't continue. Then what do you need me to do? Wana Okubo said. You've already solved Qimei. What else do you want me to do? You're too naive. Do you really think that you can control your entire family after solving Qimei's problem? Are your brothers idiots? Su-yun, if you want to control everything, then you have to have the capital to control everything. Wana Okubo was completely immersed in Su-yun's design. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you can win 100 battles. Can you understand this sentence? Su-yun. Wana Okubo shook her head. She only knew when LV had a limited edition, and she didn't understand what it meant to know yourself and know your enemy. If you want to defeat your other brothers, you have to know everything about them. Su-yun. They must have their plans. So you have to help me know their plans. Wana Okubo understood what Su-yun meant. Do you think they have plans? Of course. Su-yun. No one will sit still and wait for death. They must all think that Qimei is colluding with me, and they must find a way to completely eradicate us in the family, so they will find a way to deal with us. As long as you can participate in them and tell me everything they plan, I can help you become the final winner. Wana Okubo nodded in realization. The fight between the snipe and the clam. You want me to be the person who reaps the benefits. Su-yun gave a thumbs up. Miss Wana is indeed a smart person. I like to cooperate with smart people. Since you understand, and I have made it clear, then I won't beat around the bush. Mauna Okubo frowned. This sounds very difficult. It's not difficult at all. Su-yun. What does it mean to reap the benefits? It means to get the greatest benefits without spending a single soldier. You just need to do as I say, and I can help you become the fisherman. But I have conditions. What conditions? Wana Okubo was startled. I said it before. What I want is money. Su-yun. As long as I can get the money, I will help you. It depends on whether you are willing to pay the money or not. Wana Okubo stared at Su-yun for a long time, and finally said, How much do you want? 10 billion yen. Su-yun's answer was very simple. 10 billion yen. Wana Okubo's eyes widened. Are you crazy about money? Where can I get 10 billion yen for you? Do you know how much money the Okubo family has left in a year? Of course I know. Su-yin. It must be more than this number. Otherwise, why would Chime give me the Buddha's head worth 6 billion yen? It is more than this. But it won't be much more. But you are asking for too much. Wana Okubo couldn't accept Su-yun's request. But think about it carefully, is it much? Su-yun. I only want your family's income for a year, but I can control the Okubo family's income for a lifetime. Doesn't this price sound too much? It indeed didn't sound like much. Wana Okubo was only in her 20s. If she had the final say in the family from now on, then everything would be hers. Are you sure you can help me? Su-yun nodded. Of course I can help you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have told you this. Okay, then our cooperation will take effect now. Wana Okubo said. I will go to them now and help you inquire about their plans. Then I wish us a happy cooperation. Su-yun nodded and finally sent this woman away. He also arranged a spy beside her. Chapter 2069. After Una Okubo left overnight, Chime Okubo once again came to Su-yun's room. Su-yun was already waiting for Chime at this time. The two of them had been talking about this matter this afternoon. Chime Okubo knew her own brothers and sisters too well. They all pretended to be pure on the surface, but everything they thought in their hearts was very sinister. Especially Okubo Aichi, he would never sit still and wait for death. Therefore, Chime Okubo asserted that Okubo Aichi would definitely think of some ways to deal with her. Midway, Okubo Kawada came and met with Una and Mizushi. He said a lot of things, and then took Mizushi away, which showed that there was a problem. Chime Okubo knew that she absolutely could not sit still and wait for death. She had to think of a way to solve it. Sure enough, Chime Okubo's prediction was not wrong. Una Okubo did not leave with them, indicating that she had her own ideas. According to Chime's understanding of her sister's jealousy of her was very serious. It had been like this since she was very young. As long as it was something that Chime had, Una Okubo would definitely want to get it. The things that were snatched from Chime's hands must be her favorite, because that would bring Una Okubo a very strong pleasure. She enjoyed the taste of plundering and the excitement of taking things from Chime's hands. Chime Okubo asserted that Una Okubo would definitely make a move on Su-yun tonight, and she would definitely take away Su-yun, this man, from Chime's side. Everything was as Chime Okubo imagined. Una Okubo really made a move. Moreover, Una Okubo was really going all out. Just looking at her dress, it would definitely make a man spurt blood. Even if Su-yun had already planned the performance with Chime, seeing Una Okubo's dress, he almost couldn't resist. It was certain that he would take a few more glances. It didn't matter if he took advantage of the eyes. Su-yun was still a person with strong willpower. He finally followed the plan that he and Chime had arranged and performed perfectly, making Una Okubo completely believe these things. Just like what Chime said, Wana Okubo was actually a completely brainless woman, and she easily believed these lies. Even though these lies seemed to be full of loopholes in Su-yun's eyes, Wana Okubo still didn't notice the problem. This success made Su-yun very satisfied. After he and Qianmei met, both of them were very satisfied with the control of the situation. Okubo Chiami had already made a decision. She must stand firm, so she had to use all means. Even if she had to use Okubo Mauna, she must not let Okubo Aichi's plot succeed. However, Okubo Chime really ignored the abilities of her brothers and sisters. In fact, the biggest performers today were not her and Su-yun, but his brothers and sisters. Except for Obito Okubo, who was an outsider, the others had already colluded with Okubo Mai. After Wana Okubo left home, she immediately contacted Okubo Aichi. Brother, I've done everything according to your arrangements. Okubo Aichi was very satisfied. Una, you've really worked hard today. Humph. It's not hard. Wana Okubo said. I feel so happy when I think that Qianmei will still treat me as a fool. She thinks I'm a person who's kept in the dark, but in fact she doesn't know that she's the one who's kept in the dark. Una, now you believe what I said. Qianmei is really ambitious. Okubo Aichi said. She has always looked down on us. She really thinks that each of us is doing it for 1 billion. No, we don't want that little money. Wana Okubo sneered. Yes, in the past 2 years, she has been using the resources and relationships accumulated by her father to constantly take all the family's business on her alone. We all turn a blind eye. She really thinks we don't care. Then we'll let her know soon that we care. Okubo Aichi smiled slightly. We've just been using her for the past 2 years. Using her to get through the most difficult 2 years. These 2 difficult years have passed, and we should get back what belongs to us. Wana Okubo's expression was very determined. Yes, she was no longer the silly woman from 2 years ago. They already knew the truth of the matter. Qianmei's mother was indeed killed by their father. However, none of them expected that the car accident that killed all of their fathers was planned by Qianmei's father. When they knew the truth, they planned all this. They wanted Qianmei to taste what it was like to lose something. When they squeezed everything out of Qianmei, made her sacrifice for the family, and made her think that she had the ability to control the family, they would suddenly appear and destroy everything, so that Qianmei wouldn't get anything. This was their revenge plan. However, the reason why Obito Okubo was excluded and became a sacrifice was very simple. Okubo Aichi felt that this cripple would be useless in the future. Moreover, his hospitalization became the fuse that could be implemented all the plans. That's right. Okubo Aichi wanted to use this fuse to make things big. What he wanted to do was definitely not just to make everyone think that there was just a small family dispute. This kind of small dispute was definitely not enough to completely defeat Okubo Chimi. How to completely defeat Okubo Chimi? It needed people to die. And this crime was arranged on Okubo Chimi after all. As a sacrifice, Obito Okubo didn't know that all this was a big conspiracy planned by the other 4 brothers and sisters. He would indeed become the one who paid the most among them. However, he was definitely not the one who could get the most out of them. Because the one who paid the most would have to pay the most, even including his life. A huge conspiracy had begun, but Okubo Chimi didn't think it would be so complicated. Chapter 2070. This huge conspiracy came without warning. When Okubo Chiaki woke up the next day, she was faced with thousands of reporters and media interviews at the door of her house. The black crowd had already surrounded the entire door of Okubo's house. Okubo Chiaki didn't even know what was going on, nor did she know what these people were after. However, when the servants brought the newspaper to Okubo Chiaki, the always gentle and elegant Okubo Chiaki even pushed all the things on the table in front of her to the ground. Anger filled her entire brain. She really couldn't believe what was happening in front of her eyes. She couldn't believe that the contents of the newspaper were so unbearable. The entertainment media nowadays are all like this. They talk nonsense whenever there's something. Don't mind it too much. Su-yun, don't think so much. Adjust your mentality and face this with a normal heart. In this aspect, Su-yun could be considered experienced. Although there weren't any media outlets in the country that dared to randomly report false information about him, he had dealt with a lot of false information about the artists under Sky Entertainment. Aside from the fake news that was created for the sake of publicity, anyone who randomly released false information would be severely punished. Therefore, Su-yun thought that Okubo Chiaki didn't need to worry about this small matter at all. False things would never become true. What's true can't be false, and what's false can't be true. Su-yun. No matter how long this false information lasts, sooner or later it will be broken by the truth. Okubo Chiaki really felt like she was about to collapse. She wasn't afraid of things that she didn't need, but she was afraid of the negative impact this kind of thing would have on the family business, and the companies that the Okubo family had a stake in. She couldn't estimate how much harm this would have on the family business. Now arrange for someone to investigate the person who released the false information. We must give this matter a positive explanation. Su-yun. Punish this person severely and let others know what a taboo is. We must make him admit his mistake publicly. Okubo Chiami was silent for a while. Su-yun, who do you think spread this news? This. Su-yun was startled. He really didn't think about this problem. Now that Okubo Chimi mentioned it, he thought about it carefully. There was really a problem because when the accident happened that day, only a few people in the family knew about it. Very few people would do such a thing. The only person who could spread this news was the Odoku bodyguard himself. Yes, that was right. It must have been done by the person involved. Thinking about it again, Okubo Mai and the others must have also joined forces with the Okubo guards yesterday. Presumably, this matter was most likely arranged by them. Who would have thought that once these brothers really shed all pretense of cordiality, their methods would be quite despicable? Okubo Chiaki was particularly silent. She had to let the Okubo guards know how serious the consequences of this matter were. She had to get him to dispel the rumor. If it's the Okubo guards, then the only one who can solve this matter is you. Suyin. You need to talk to him. Okubo Chiami nodded weakly. Right now, she probably couldn't even leave the house, right? With so many reporters surrounding the door, there was no possibility of her going to the hospital. Arrange for me to use your usual car. Suyin. I'll contact Wunai now and ask her what kind of conspiracy she heard over there. I'll leave in your car, and the reporters will surround me. Find an opportunity to get another car to take you to the hospital, and let the Okubo guards explain the matter clearly. Okubo Chiami looked at Suyin moved. Thank you. Fortunately, I have you. Otherwise, I really don't know what to do next. Don't think so much. Just keep yourself as you usually are. Suyin. The more trouble you encounter, the more you have to keep yourself calm. Only when you calm down can you figure out what you need to do. Okubo Chiaki nodded. She had to summon up her courage, cheer up, and cheer herself up. Although this kind of discrediting matter would smear the Okubo family's face and affect many aspects of cooperation, as long as it was solved, she believed that this kind of impact would disappear sooner or later. Since it had happened, she had to face it calmly and avoid the problem that couldn't be solved. Suyin quickly got in touch with Okubo Chiaki. He was very surprised and asked her what had happened, and why the house was surrounded by so many reporters early in the morning. And how did the bad news about him and Okubo Chiaki spread? In the face of Suyun's questions, Okubo Chiaki could only say that when she met with the others yesterday, she couldn't control the Okubo guards. She said that everything was what the Okubo guards wanted to do, and they couldn't stop them at all. Pouring all the dirty water on Obito Okubo was something that they had already discussed from the very beginning. Where are you now? I think it's necessary for us to meet. Suyin. Now we can't stay here at all. Find a way to sneak out. You choose a place, and you have to tell me their motives. Otherwise, if I'm affected, you won't be the final winner. Okubo Chiaki readily agreed. Okay, then you find a way to get out of the house first. And then when you get to a place where you can make sure it's safe and there's no one around, tell me, and I'll find you as soon as possible. Okay. Suyin hung up the phone after he finished speaking. He signaled to Okubo Chiaki that he would definitely help her get through this difficult time. At this time, Okubo Chiaki's car was also ready. After Suyin got in the car, he closed all the built-in sunshades. It was originally a privacy glass, and with the sunshades, no one could see who was sitting in the car. But this car was recognized by all the media friends. This was Okubo Chiaki's car. When the door opened and the car drove out, the reporters swarmed forward and directly surrounded the car. Suyin told the driver to slow down on the gas pedal, go slowly, and don't stop the horn. When someone maliciously blocked a car and was hit or run over by the car, it was protected by the law in Japan. In fact, Hwaseo's should really learn this. If Hwaseo's driver was also protected, then no one would dare to blackmail him on the road. The car drove out bit by bit, and the reporters followed Suyun's car for hundreds of meters. Suyin finally received a call from Okubo Chiaki. She had successfully left. Suyin successfully helped her attract the attention of all the reporters. It was just that it was really difficult for Suyin to get rid of them now. Brother, you go to the front passenger seat. I'll do it. Suyin patted the driver's shoulder and motioned for him to give up his seat. The driver hesitated for a moment, but still agreed to Suyun's request. Suyin directly got into the driver's seat from the back. Without saying a word, he pushed the car into neutral and stepped on the gas pedal. The engine was like a beast that had suddenly awakened. It suddenly roared. This was definitely effective. The reporters were there for an interview, and no one wanted to lose their lives because of this. With this step on the gas pedal, the crowd spread out to a range of 2 meters. Su Yun seized the opportunity and turned the steering wheel to the end. The car suddenly began to move in a circle, once again driving the surrounding reporters a few meters away. When the people on the other side wanted to go forward, Su Yun stepped on the gas pedal again in neutral, and used the roar of the engine to intimidate the other party. Immediately after, he changed gears again and drove the crowd in a circle. After repeating this several times, Su Yun directly killed a path through the crowd, and the car returned home from a new place. The door closed, and the media surrounded the door again. At this time, Okubo Chiaki had already left. Su Yun returned the car to the driver and thanked him. It was much easier for him to leave. He found a secluded high wall and directly climbed over it. Chapter 2071. After Su Yun climbed over the wall, he received a call from Okubo Mauna. She said that she had arrived near a tree farm in the north of the district. There were few people here, so it was suitable for them to meet. She also didn't want to be seen by others. At this time, Su Yun also found a taxi and asked Okubo Mauna to tell the driver the address directly. After the driver learned the address, he didn't seem to want to go, but after looking at Su Yun, he didn't dare to refuse. Then he took Su Yun to the north. After Okubo Chimi left home, she rushed to the hospital without stopping. There was only one thought in her mind now. This matter must be settled as soon as possible. It must not cause any more impact. After Okubo Chimi arrived at the hospital, she went straight to her second brother's ward. However, to her surprise, no one else was there at this time. Only Okubo Mauna was sleeping in the ward. Second brother, do you know how much you've done? Okubo Chimi broke in, took off her hat and sunglasses and angrily accused. You must publicly take back your words. This is for the sake of the family, do you understand? Okubo Chimi stepped forward angrily, because the other party's indifferent attitude made her unable to control her emotions. But when Okubo Chiami approached the Okubo guard, her heart inexplicably panicked for a moment. She suddenly realized that something was amiss. When Okubo Chimi found out that something had really happened, her whole person was completely unwell. She really couldn't accept this fact for a while. No matter how much Okubo Chimi hated this person, he was her brother after all. Okubo Chimi stepped forward and grabbed Okubo Mauna's hands. Second brother? You don't scare me. What happened? Obito Okubo was already dead, lying on his bed. He didn't look like he was in any pain, nor did he look like he was suffering. He had died without any warning. He didn't breathe, and his eyes were wide open. It was as if he was talking to someone a second ago. At this time, Okubo Kawada and Okubo Mizuki suddenly appeared at the door of the ward. The two screamed, "Oh, no! Chienmei, what are you trying to do?" All of this made Okubo Chiami unprepared. She knew that the moment she stepped into the ward, she had already fallen into their trap. However, she really couldn't believe that they would use the method of killing Okubo's guards to set up this trap. Okubo guard died, and Okubo Chiami was identified by the police as the #1 suspect. All of this was a matter of course. According to common sense, today's newspapers all reported that Okubo bodyguard had discovered Okubo Chimi's adultery, and then the whole media was in a sensation. This incident caused a lot of noise, so Okubo Chiami became angry out of humiliation, and had evil thoughts towards the Okubo Sentinel. This was definitely a very likely thing. Based on this point, the police will arrest Okubo Chimi as soon as possible. In addition, according to the investigation of the cause of Obito Okubo's death, his death was due to a large injection of morphine, which was directly injected into his chest. A syringe was found in the ward, and the substance extracted from the syringe was indeed morphine. According to the examination of the syringe, the fingerprints on it were Okubo Sentinel's own. But even if Okubo Sentinel had the possibility of relying on morphine, he wouldn't be stupid enough to inject it directly into his chest. This was absolutely courting death. Therefore, the police naturally suspected that someone had controlled Okubo Sentinel's hands and made him take the syringe to inject himself. In the end, the fingerprints extracted from Okubo Sentinel's hands were only Okubo Chimi's. All of this evidence pointed to Okubo Chimi's unfavorable. Furthermore, both Okubo Kawada and Okubo Mizuki were full of lies, saying that they saw Chien-mei doing something beside their second brother. The two of them had a slight dispute, and it must be because Chien-mei was angry at the news that the media reported today. Then they said that they didn't want to disturb them talking about some private matters, so they left temporarily, but they didn't expect to see such a scene when they came back. Okubo Sentinel actually died like this. All of this conspiracy was quite perfect. The two also talked about some discord between them in front of the police, saying that after Okubo Sentinel was injured and hospitalized, the four of them had been taking turns to take care of Okubo Sentinel, and Okubo Chimi didn't participate at all. Okubo Chimi knew that it was meaningless for her to say anything now. All of this required enough evidence to clear her name. She was wronged, and she believed that the truth would come out one day. Originally, it was just a media storm, but then a second media storm appeared. What about the internal strife within the family? What about the inhumane heart of a snake and scorpion? These messy headlines began to spread all over the major newspapers and media websites. The three of them had to go back to the police station for investigation. So Okubo Chimi had no reason to refuse. The most important thing now was to cooperate with the police and explain everything clearly. She believed in the existence of the truth. On the way to the police station, Okubo Chimi didn't say a word. She was thinking about the whole thing. She was thinking about how all of this was planned. In this huge conspiracy, Suyin must be a victim. Okubo Mauna absolutely believed in this. She suddenly became worried. That's right, Okubo Mauna and Okubo Mauna weren't in the hospital. Could it be that everything about Mauna was a disguise? Suyin was in another conspiracy that led to them. If that was the case, it would be troublesome because Suyin had no identity in Dongying. He didn't have a passport or anything. Once he was caught by the police, it would be even more difficult to defend himself. What should I do now? Okubo Chimi panicked. She didn't want to implicate Suyin because of her. After all, Suyin had nothing to do with this matter. This was their family dispute. It didn't matter if she lost badly, but she couldn't implicate Suyin. Okubo Chimi fell into deep self-blame, but it was meaningless. She couldn't change anything. Since the moment she got into the police car, her freedom had been temporarily suspended. Before the truth of the matter was investigated, she couldn't do anything. She could only silently bear all of this. Suyin, I hope nothing happens to you. Okubo Chimi only had this request now. She even hoped that Suyin would run away when he sensed that something was wrong. Don't continue to be involved in this chaos. Suyin, go as far as you can. He wanted to leave Japan and get out of this huge conspiracy. Okubo Chimi shouted in her heart. At this time, Suyin had already arrived at the forest in the North District under the guidance of the taxi driver. After arriving at the destination, Suyin paid for the taxi driver. The driver didn't dare to take it at all. He looked at Suyin with a helpless smile, as if it was right for him to bring Suyin here, and it was wrong for him to take the money. How would I dare to take the fee of your ihakai? The driver said cautiously. If there's anything I've done wrong, please forgive me. Ihakai? Suyin was startled. Which part of him looked like a member of the ihakai? They didn't say a word along the way. Did he become a member of the ihakai? What did the driver mean by this? Free delivery. Today's luck was quite good. As soon as Suyin got out of the car, he realized that he thought too little. Since the other party said that he was a member of the ihakai, there must be a basis. And the best basis was this forest farm. There was only one possibility. This forest belonged to the ihakai. That was why the driver thought that Suyin was a member of the ihakai. Ihakai? What kind of trick was Okubo Chimi playing with him? Suyin finally realized that something was wrong. He still had a chance to leave, but if he didn't figure this out, how could he help Chimi? Whether it was a dragon's pool or a tiger's den, Suyin had already come here. He didn't intend to return empty-handed. Chapter 2072. Looking at the huge forest in front of her, Soo-Yun thought of the Baldy and the two bears that often appeared on TV. A seemingly meaningless work without any funny points could actually become something that could be heard by anyone, from an old woman to a 2-year-old child. Now was not the time for Soo-Yun to complain. Soo-Yun looked at the tree farm. It looked calm outside. He knew that the calmer things looked on the outside, the more turbulent they were inside. The phone rang again. It was Okubo Mauna calling. Have you arrived? Oh, is there a surveillance camera? Soo-Yun smiled slightly. He looked around. There was definitely a surveillance camera in this place, but it must be hidden in an inconspicuous place. Okubo Mauna, who was in front of the surveillance screen, quickly said, I just heard the sound of a car just now, so I called to ask you. Soo-Yun. Whether there is a surveillance camera or not, I came to see you. Where are you? Go inside the tree farm. It's safer here. Okubo Mauna said. She had successfully completed her task. I'm waiting for you inside. Hurry. Soo-Yun hung up the phone. You can't wait to kill me? Let's go, who cares who is inside? So what if it's Yaehekai? They were still beaten by him yesterday. They were not his opponent at all. Looking at Soo-Yun walking into the tree farm on the surveillance screen, Okubo Mauna's face finally showed a satisfied smile. This was the result he wanted. As long as Soo-Yun came in, he wouldn't be able to get out alive. Okubo Mauna breathed a sigh of relief. Brother, I brought him to you. I won't participate in the rest of the things. Mauna, we are all on the same side. What else do you want to do? Okubo Mauna smiled slightly. We are all grasshoppers on the same line. You don't think that if you leave now and something happens to this man, it will have nothing to do with you, right? Don't forget he came here because of you. Una Okubo was a little angry, but she couldn't vent her anger. Brother, that's not what you said before. The rest of the matter will be handled by you and the Righteous Peace Society. It has nothing to do with me. How could it not matter? This matter is very important. Okubo said. If you leave, you won't be able to see a good show. Right now, Qianmei should have already entered the trap. Don't worry, everything is under my control. Mauna Okubo said. I don't care if you want to kill people, and I don't care if you kill second brother, but don't do it in front of me. I'm a Buddhist. You're a Buddhist, aren't you? Okubo Mei said disdainfully. Wuna, don't joke with me. If you do that, President Guishan will laugh at us. Mauna Okubo was startled. President Kamayama is also here. This news was indeed shocking to Mauna Okubo. She had always thought that Nakata Kanzuya would be the one to deal with this matter, as President Guishan would not show up for anything outside the Righteous Peace Society. Nakata Kanzuya's expression did not look too good. He had been defeated by Soo-Yun, and had been taught a terrible lesson by Soo-Yun. He was still afraid of Soo-Yun. Even if the Heavenly Network was here today, Soo-Yun would not be able to escape from this forest. But even so, Nakata Kanzuya was not very confident. He did not know what Soo-Yun was capable of, but he was sure of one thing. Even if they could take down Soo-Yun, they would be in a miserable state. But President Guishan was very confident in this. The current president of the Righteous Peace Society, Kamayama Junsaburo, had participated in the largest gang fight in Honshu. Because of that incident, Kamayama Junsaburo established his position in the Japanese mafia. Very quickly, he became the current president of the Righteous Peace Society. And because of him, the Righteous Peace Society rose to power. Kamayama Junsaburo was a smart person. He knew what kind of people he should interact with, so that he could develop his power more steadily. Thus, Kamayama Junsaburo was very close to the various political families in Japan. Thus, he was nicknamed the government dog. Of course, only a portion of people called him that behind his back. No one dared to call him that in front of his face. Not many people dared to call him that behind his back. Even if they called him that, they acknowledged his abilities. Some people even said that even if Kamayama Junsaburo caused a huge explosion in Japan, as long as it was not a nuclear explosion, no one would dare to capture him and lock him up. This was Kamayama's ability. People with the surname Kamayama were not necessarily Kamayama's grandson. As expected, people should not have the same surname. President Komayama isn't feeling well, so he's been resting in the wooden house over there. Nakata Wazawa also said, Ms. Unai, you wouldn't mind, right? Unai Okubo looked slightly unhappy. Of course I wouldn't mind. Furthermore, I don't have the right to mind. President Komayama is such an important person. He's not someone I can meet casually. Unai, you better watch your words. Okubo-me said, President Komayama isn't feeling well, you should understand. Unai Okubo didn't say anything. Even if he wasn't feeling well and didn't come to see her, someone should have told her, right? She came to the forest like an idiot, only to find out that Komayama Junsaburo was in the wooden house next to the control room. When Unai Okubo expressed her unhappiness, footsteps sounded. Komayama Junsaburo actually stood up and walked over. He probably felt that it was about time. Ms. Unai, you can't blame me for this. If I knew you were coming, I would have waited for you. It wasn't a secret that Komayama Junsaburo was an old pervert. He also knew about Unai Okubo's licentious nature, so he didn't hide his true nature. Unfortunately, although Wana Okubo was dissolute by nature, she also had a choice. She liked handsome men. In the face of a fat, ugly, and old man like Komayama Junsaburo, she had no interest at all. Ikuin, this is your fault. You didn't tell me that Ms. Unai would come. Komayama Junsaburo smiled. President Komayama is joking. Unai Okubo said, I'm just a little girl. How can I disturb President Komayama? I heard that you're not feeling well, so go back and rest. We can handle this. Komayama Junsaburo shook his head. No, I have to participate in this personally. I have to see who that guy is to be able to deal with so many of my brothers. I can't take this lying down. President Komayama, don't worry. He won't be able to escape today. Unai Okubo said confidently, I don't believe that with so many people and guns, we can't deal with him alone. Mr. Nakata's mistake that day was because he wasn't prepared. Otherwise, how could he be so arrogant? Kazuo Nakata didn't want to talk too much about this topic. He was almost scolded to death by the president. At this time, Su-yun had already entered the forest. The surveillance along the way recorded Su-yun's route clearly. Su-yun naturally noticed the surveillance equipment, but he always pretended to be indifferent and didn't deliberately pay attention to those things. Unai Okubo calculated the time and stood up. President Komayama, let me meet him first. Even if he dies, I have to let him know. I can't let him die without knowing anything. That would be too unfair to him. Following the main path in the forest, Su-yun quickly arrived at the encirclement that was prepared for him. At this time, Unai Okubo knew that she should come out and have a chat with him. Chapter 2073. When Okubo Aichi suddenly appeared in front of Su-yun with people, Su-yun didn't show any surprise. Everything was reasonable. Su-yun-san, we meet again. Okubo Aichi smiled slightly. It's just that there seems to be something wrong with this place. Su-yun also smiled, sighed, and said loudly, Miss Wunai, I trusted you so much, but you actually betrayed me. You've truly disappointed me. Okubo Aichi laughed. Su-yun-san really knows how to joke. Your acting is also very good, but unfortunately, we didn't believe it at all. If it weren't for Unai's good acting, I'm afraid you wouldn't have been fooled. Oh yes, there's another reason. It must be that Chimi was too confident that Unai would be fooled. Yes, it was indeed because Chimi was too confident, so Su-yun didn't think too much about anything at all. He believed in Chimi, so he also had confidence in Chimi's confidence. If he thought a little more, Su-yun wouldn't be in such a situation now. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter to Su-yun. If Okubo Aichi wanted to use the power of the Yakuza to kill him, then he wouldn't be merciful. No one would investigate the Japanese Yakuza at all, just like in Hong Kong and Macau and Huaxia. If you were a member of a gang after being killed, no police would help you investigate. They were different from ordinary citizens. So Su-yun wasn't worried at all. On the contrary, this kind of place where there was no one allowed him to show his hands and feet. Yihaikai. Yihaikai again. Su-yun really couldn't believe that Okubo Aichi would collude with a Yakuza group that was bullying their family. If a guy like Okubo Aichi really became the leader of the family, then everything in the family would be really finished. Have you ever thought about the price you have to pay for asking Yahaikai to deal with me? Suyun smiled slightly. This price may be very high. Why? Okubo Aichi said. I don't think it's high, and you already have a conflict with Yahaikai. I'm killing many birds with one stone. Everyone can get a reasonable result. Suyun shook his head. What do you think the righteous union will do after dealing with me? Do you know what kind of things they have done to your family? That's between them and Qianmei. They don't have that many conflicts with me. Okubomai said. Kaomi can't even protect herself now, so we don't need to think about the future. After that, you can leave the family to me, and there won't be so much trouble. Suyun smiled. I didn't expect someone as old as you to be so naive. Mr. Suyun, I advise you to cooperate with us. Hand over the Buddha's head and I can spare your life. Okubo said. As for Qianmei, I'm afraid she can only explain it to the police, so I'm sorry. You may not be able to see her in the future, and don't expect her to help you. Suyun didn't understand what was going on, but Okubomai's words did make Suyun worried. When Suyun slowly took out his mobile phone and dialed Okubo Kaomi's phone number, the smile on Okubomai's face became even more exaggerated. He looked at the time. You really don't need to call. At this time, I think Kaomi should have already cooperated with the police. A murder suspect will definitely confiscate the phone. Sure enough, the phone was turned off. But Suyun still couldn't figure out what kind of conspiracy this was. What did Okubomai mean by a murder suspect? Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. Okubomai said. I said that I would let you die a clear death, and I will admit defeat wholeheartedly. So I'm telling you now, Qianmei has already killed her own brother, Okubomai. So the police will investigate her, and our other brothers will tell the police that they have always been at odds. And after Kaomi thought she was the first heir of the family, she repeatedly tried to hurt Okubomai. At this moment, there were only 3 words in Suyun's mind. Inhumane. For a conspiracy, they could do such a thing. It was simply heartbreaking. And this time, Okubomai's script was damaged by Kaomi, and everyone in Dongying knows about it. Okubomai said. What do you think is the possibility of Kaomi being cleared? Suyun smiled disdainfully. Black can't be white, and white can't be black. There is truth in everything in the world. Kaomi wouldn't do such a thing, so no matter how perfect your plan is, it won't succeed. And there is no such thing as an impenetrable wall in the world. The truth of who killed him will be revealed sooner or later. Who would believe such nonsense? Okubomai smiled disdainfully. Huaxia people, this is Dongying. Suyun looked around. Do you think the people here are enough to deal with me? Okubomai hurriedly waved his hand. Let's not talk about such ugly things now. It's not appropriate to fight and kill. Ha ha ha. As long as you send the Buddha's head back, I will definitely let you live. Suyun shrugged. Unfortunately, the Buddha's head is a cultural relic of Huaxia, and it has already been sent away. Don't even think about it. Without the Buddha's head, you will die. Okubomai said. I will give you 3 minutes to consider whether you want to use the Buddha's head in exchange for your life. Okubomai inquired about the value of the Buddha's head through some channels. That thing was smuggled by cultural relic dealers, and it was sold for such a high price. If it was kept, who knew how much it would be worth in the future? One had to know that cultural relics were very hyped up. A gold Buddha's head worth more than 6 billion was worth 300 million renminbi. Okubomai heard that Huaxia once had a small tea bowl with a chicken printed on it that sold for more than 200 million renminbi. If this thing was sold to a tycoon, wouldn't it sell for 1 billion or even a few billion RMB? This was something that was hard to say. Therefore, Okubomai felt that the Buddha's head must be returned. There is nothing to think about. Without the Buddha's head, you will die. Do you still need to think about it? Suyun didn't know where Okubomai got his courage from. Did he really think that he could kill him here? At this time, Kamayama Junsaburo walked out. My, what is this Buddha's head you mentioned? Why haven't I heard you mention it? Okubomai was startled. This old guy's ears were really sharp. President Kamayama, it's nothing. It's just something that belongs to our family. This kid cheated it from Chiaki. It's not worth much, but it is very meaningful to our family. Our family believes in Buddhism. Su Yin heard this and immediately laughed. You are not telling the truth. Ah. It seems that you are not being honest about your cooperation. President Kamayama? The president of the Ihakai? When Kamayama Junzaburo saw Su Yin, he gritted his teeth in hatred. But now that Okubo mentioned a Buddha's head that he had never heard of, it made his heart itch. What is it? President, do you want to know what the Buddha's head is? Su Yin smiled. He was very good at manipulating people's minds. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.